Yep. Okay. Go!
Will you hand me my screen box?
Now go. Preach.
Court does call the case of People City, Michigan versus Radcliffe.
My name's Amy Reiser, Weston, and we met last week over Zoom. I'm the prosecutor handling the case. I have a series of questions to ask you. And if there's anything that you don't understand when I ask the question, just let me know and I can repeat the question. Or if you don't remember an answer, just tell us that you don't remember. Can you tell Judge Simpson how old you are? And what's your date of birth? And where did you grow up, Weston? Okay. And did you spend time in Michigan, in Saline, Michigan?
Yeah, every summer since I can remember. Every summer and winter, sometimes spring, fall break, I'd come up here and spend time with my uncles and grandparents.
And they live in Saline? Okay. And when you would come on summer and winter break, and you said spring, like spring break? Okay. Would you go to church with them? And where would you go to church? And is that Oakwood Baptist Church? And that's located in Saline? And do you know how old you were when you started attending Oakwood Baptist Church?
To be honest.
Okay.
The only church I've really been affiliated to in my life, as long as I can remember.
Okay. And when you attended Oakwood Baptist Church, did you know an individual by the name of Zachary Radcliffe? And how did you know him? And the person that you know as Zachary Radcliffe, do you see him in the courtroom today? And can you tell Judge Simpson what he's wearing?
Wearing a green suit.
The record should reflect he's identified the defendant.
That objection record shows so reflect.
And would you spend time with the defendant? Weston, would you spend time with the defendant outside of church?
All the time.
Okay.
He would take my family to go out to eat movies. He was like a brother to me.
And you said you would go to the movies? Where would you go to the movies?
Back.
Okay.
But
And at some point in your adolescent life, when you were younger, did you get a cell phone? Do you remember how old you were when you got a cell phone?
I've had iPods and stuff a lot, but you're talking about like an actual cellular device that I can call and stuff. No.
Okay. Did you communicate with the defendant ever on a cell phone?
Yes.
And how would you communicate with him?
See Snapchat.
Okay. And would it be normal conversation or church stuff? Did it ever become something that was not normal?
Yes.
Okay. And how old were you when that happened? 15 or 16 years old? And what did the conversation turn to?
Let's see how it started.
Yes, how did it start?
So we were going to the UAW hall, and I was just spending time with Zach. He picked me up from the house. We went to the gas station, went back. I think we were going to go watch the Chicago game. And we pulled up to the UAW hall, and he was like, I got a secret to tell you. I was like, what is it? He said, we promised to God, but you don't tell nobody. I said, I promise to God. I thought it was just a normal secret, whatever. And he pushed it away, and we got outside of the room. And I was like, what is, like, what are you going to tell me? And he said, I have a client that I work with that has connections with people in Japan, and they will send, pretty much, long story short, they'll send you money if you send them information.
So he's,
There was no details then, but once I got the information, then that's when he started telling me to moan like a girl and show my legs. You have to finish in the video.
and so when he was telling you this, you were in person, you said at the UAW hall. Was there like a church office there or something? And do you know like where that was?
I'm not exactly sure.
Was it like, do you know what street? It was in Saline, okay. And was anyone else at the church office at that time? Just you and him?
I
And-
think he had office there and maybe Pastor Frank, but nobody else was there. It was just me and him.
Okay, and you were 15 or 16 years old? Okay. And so what information did he give you? Like you said, he told you like how to do the video? What did he tell you to do in the video?
Told me to, when I first sent it, it wasn't good enough and I needed to be higher pitch moaning. I needed to moan louder and I needed to show my legs and my stomach and I had to finish in the video. And when I finished, I had to get even louder.
And he was telling you that. And so for the record and to be clear, the video is you stimulating your with your hand and naked. Okay. And did he tell you where to send the video to?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you send it to? Do you recall?
1977 at yahoo.com.
Okay. And he gave you the email address? Okay. And did he give you anything in exchange for making these videos?
Money.
Okay. And how would he give you the money?
When I was here, it started when I was here. He would give me cash. And when I went back to Kentucky school, that's when he started catching me. Yeah.
And you said the first video you sent, he told you there was something wrong with it?
Yeah, that wasn't really enough.
And did he tell?
Make money.
That's what he told you? And did he tell you that in person or over Snapchat? Over text. And when you say text, like text on the cell phone, Snapchat. Okay. And so you redid it? Okay. And did you make the video right away when he told you about it or?
I think I just let it, I thought about it for a while. And when I guess when I needed money, I was like, hey, what was that thing that you told me about? And that's when it started happening.
Okay. And
Never had. Wow, this is an opportunity.
yeah. And so how many videos do you think you sent him?
Probably 15, 20.
Okay. And were you under the age of 18 in all of those videos? And do you still have the Cash App payments that he made to you? Okay. And how much do you remember how much he paid you? Did it vary for each video?
Started $60 when mostly when it varied it varied one. I show my face. And
Did he ask you to show your face? What did he say?
he said that I'd be paid for.
Okay. And so you did that? And how much do you,
Dollars or something.
Okay. and do you recall when the last video you sent to him was?
2024.
Okay.
I think it was towards the end of the year. I can't recall exactly.
Okay.
And
And
again
did,
for me, when? You said, when was the last one? You don't recall? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
did you stop making the videos? Okay. And did he say anything to you about not making them anymore?
Yeah, like I said, it was me and my papa in the house, and we were in the kitchen. Papa was watching TV, and this was the first time I've ever seen the evil in them.
Or in Zach?
Yeah, and he just whispered at me and was like, "They're paying a lot right now.
Oh, he was saying to you, what was he saying? I'm sorry. He was whispering it to you?
Sorry,
That's okay.
they pay a lot. They're paying a lot. They're having Valentine's Day special."
Okay. And you were in your,
And I was like, no, I was like, I'm gonna get a job. That's literally what I said. He just blew it off, and I walked back in the room, and he was
and that was at your grandpa's house in Saline? Okay. So was that Valentine's Day of 2024? Okay. And how did that like make you feel?
different about him. Didn't know how to feel.
How has it affected you now?
But every night.
Hey, buddy, you need a break?
Keep it going.
Okay. Weston, I don't have any questions for you. If you want a break, we can take a break. But if you're okay to keep going, the defense attorney has some questions for you, okay?
You need a break? Let me know, okay? And we'll just stop. It's okay.
I'll come.
What do you say? You're trying to get done back? I hear you. I was raised the same way, so I got you. All right. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Weston. My name is Ida, and I'm just gonna ask you some questions, okay? So we're just gonna start with some people, right? And I'm gonna give you some names. Can you let me know if you know these people? Holly. Okay, and how do you know Holly? It's your cousin. So how long have you known Holly since she's your cousin? Most of your life? Okay. What about Brianna? Brianna, Zach's ex-girlfriend. Do you know Brianna?
She was around Zach,
Okay, and how long have you known Brianna?
but they were together.
Okay. Have you ever talked to Brianna without Zach being there? No. Okay. What about Isaiah? You know Isaiah? How do you know Isaiah? How long have you known Isaiah?
So Zach's introduced me to him.
Okay. And how long do you think that's been?
Couple of years.
Couple years? If I say like 3-4 years, does that feel right? Okay. Somewhere between 3 or 4 years. Okay. Did you know Isaiah outside of Zach at all?
Until he introduced me.
Okay. And then once he introduced, sorry, say that one.
He goes to a different school.
Okay. Okay. So the summers you come in, or the spring or the holidays you come in to visit your grandparents, you hang out with Isaiah? Okay. When's the last time you talked to Isaiah?
In a couple days.
Okay. And where did you talk to Isaiah last?
Outside.
Where were you guys at? Were you at someone's house?
Sorry, I talked to him yesterday outside.
Okay. And
A lot going through my head right now.
that's fair, Weston, if you want to take a break, like the judge said. Did you want to take a break? Okay.
Take a break. All right.
That's all right.
Hey, if somebody, does he have a support person with him or somebody? All right. They can either go all the way back down, but I prefer that not happen. Just take it to the jury deliberation. All right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, while we wait for that, court will stand in recess. All right. We're back on the record in the case of the People versus Radcliffe. You all right? Okay. I'm gonna tell you, you're right. You like to get things done like me. So, but what you say? No, I'll tell you what. If you need a break, if you need another one, you just let me know. All right? No harm in asking, right? Okay. All right. Counsel, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, so Weston, we were talking about when's the last time you talked to Isaiah? And that was yesterday outside of the courthouse? Okay. And when you talked to Isaiah, what did you talk to Isaiah about?
Objection, hearsay.
I'm going to sustain the objection as to the form of the question if you want to retry that question.
What did you say to Isaiah?
Talked about everything that's happened to us. Because we haven't got to talk. This is really my first time seeing him.
Okay. And when you said that to Isaiah, what did you feel about what Isaiah said to you or looked at you or how he reacted to it?
Sad.
Okay. And why did it make you feel sad?
Because of the things that he's done.
Okay. So when you heard Isaiah tell you what he told you, were you sad for Isaiah too?
Yes.
Okay. And is that because Isaiah told you some details?
That's something I had.
Okay. And how do you know he went through the exact same thing you had to go through?
He talked about Snapchat.
Okay. And what did you talk about with regards to the Snapchat? What did you say to Isaiah?
What happened?
Okay.
What was going through?
Okay. So you told Isaiah kind of everything and Isaiah told you the same. Okay. What about Noah? Do you know Noah? Okay. How do you know Noah? Okay, how long? Okay. How long have you known Noah?
Less than a year.
Okay. And did you go to school with Noah? Okay. Did you go to church with Noah?
I don't know if he went there. He's that's the one that introduced him to Jesus.
Okay. And so you've only known Noah for about a year?
That
Okay. And when's the last time you spoke with Noah? Okay. And when did you speak with Noah? Where?
outside.
Outside of the courthouse? And was anyone else around you when you spoke with Noah?
Yeah,
Who was there with you?
everybody that was outside
Okay. And who's everybody? Well, I was an outsider, right?
that were with us.
Okay. Can you tell me some of those people? What are their names?
Isaiah, me, Papa, not my Papa, Dad, everybody that's with us, attending us, or
Okay. And so you and Isaiah and Noah were outside together. There was nobody else other than the other people you named. There was no one else outside with you?
everybody that were coming
Okay. Everybody together, coming in from where?
into here yesterday.
Okay. When was that?
In the morning.
Okay. And okay. And then what about Devin? Do you know Devin? No? Okay. Reese? No?
Those are faces that I hadn't seen before.
Say that one more time.
He came in the room, I was like, who is this?
Okay.
Two people I've never seen.
Okay. But do you know who they are now?
Names yet, but I really haven't talked to them. It's just a bit collaborative.
Okay. And how would you identify them? Like, how would you know them now? Because of this? Okay. What about Christopher? Cole? Okay. And how do you know Christopher? Okay. And how long have you known Christopher?
He's been in church since I was a little kid.
So can you give me an idea of how long that could have been?
I probably started doing that when I was like 4 or 5.
Okay. So you've known Christopher for a pretty long time, right? Because you're 18 now, right? Okay. And have you talked to Christopher? Have you talked to Christopher without Zach?
No, not really.
Okay.
He's kind of pushed away everybody, Holly, Christopher, Cole, whatever.
Okay. And when's the last time you talked to Christopher? Yesterday. And where was that? Outside? Was that in the morning as well? Okay. Was he part of that circle of people? Okay. And what did you say to Christopher? What did you tell Christopher?
About the Jacks, and he went through the same thing.
Okay. And how did you feel about his response?
Sad.
Right. And why did it make you feel sad?
The exact same reason for I said.
Okay. What about Maxwell? Do you know Maxwell? And how long have you known Maxwell?
Couple years.
Okay. When you say a couple of years, can I say like 2? Okay. And how do you know Maxwell? Okay. And have you talked to Maxwell anytime without Zach or hung out with him without Zach?
We used to go to the gym and stuff together.
Okay. And how often would you guys?
This was going on. Neither of us had an idea that we were
Okay. So how long were you guys going to the gym as gym buddies?
how long.
Yeah. Like, were you guys going to the gym for the last couple of years? Okay. How often would you go to the gym? Like once a week? Every day. Okay. Commitment. That's good. That's a good sign. All right. So you guys would go to the gym and you guys would never talk about this stuff? Okay. Did you ever tell?
I didn't know he was part of it. He didn't know I was part of it. We didn't know it was wrong. We didn't know.
Did you ever tell Maxwell how maybe you made money? No? Did he ever ask you?
I thought about doing it, but I never did. I wish I did.
Okay. All right. I have a couple more names. I know seems a little repetitive. So Jacob, do you know Jacob? And how do you know Jacob?
Kind of knew Zach. He used to go to church. He just disappeared. I never really talked to Jacob, but I know.
Okay. When you do like the bunny ears or the
I
quotations?
know his name. I talked to him here. So,
Okay. When you say you talked to him here, when did you speak with him? Outside yesterday? Okay. The same kind of conversations? Okay. Did Jacob,
Thing about Jax, he was like, Jax, what? It's a whole different situation.
okay. And was there anything else about your story that you told them that was different?
Didn't really get into it.
Okay. All right. What about Nathan? Nathan, I think Nathan now lives in Tennessee.
Uncle,
Pardon?
uncle.
Nathan and Dylan? Okay. Who are they? Do you know them? They're your uncles, right? How long? You've obviously known them your life, right? And you currently live with them in Tennessee, right?
I live here. I came up here for surgery.
Okay. But before you came up here for surgery, you were living in Tennessee. And how long had you lived in Tennessee? Okay. For the surgery? Okay.
I've been in stuff my whole life.
Okay. And in Tennessee, you lived with your two uncles, Dylan and Nathan, right? Did you ever talk to them about what was going on?
First person I told was Amanda.
Okay.
First thing she said is, that's not I'm doing Zach.
Okay. Who's Amanda?
My cousin.
Okay. Your Honor, I know he's nodding into the gallery. Is it all right if we identify that person in the gallery for the record?
know that that's necessary.
Is that person sitting in the gallery? Okay. If I were to refer to that person as your support person, is that appropriate? Okay. And her name is Amanda. And what's the relationship that the two of you have?
Objection, asked and answered.
My apologies.
Sustained.
I didn't hear it, Your Honor, the answer that he gave, the relationship. Your cousin. Thank you.
He said, I know you said it 2 times. I know. I heard you.
My apologies. That's your cousin. Correct. And you've known her obviously most of your life. So she's the first person you told to?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
And when you told her, what did you tell her exactly?
I told her that I was sending the Jack's videos through connection with Zach, and I was getting paid for it.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay. And you said earlier that she told you that wasn't what was going on. And what did that mean to you?
Say, and that's when it got reported and everything just started spiraling. And all things came out.
And she said to you earlier that she said something like, you're not the only one or something like that?
She said, yeah, definitely not the only one.
Okay. And what did that mean to
That's why
you?
I believe it's gone. Because this had to happen. It was went on way too long and God ain't gonna let that happen. So devil got defeated.
In your opinion, how do you think she knew that you were not the only one?
God.
God? Okay. And, okay. Now, at one point, there was like a meeting, right? At the Powers house? Yeah? Were you at that meeting at the Powers house? Yeah, and that's Scott and Beth, right? Okay. That's your mama and papa. Okay. And so at that meeting at the house, who was all at that meeting?
That's what I'm saying, is it spiraled. One person came over, called their kid, and then the kid was like, yes. And then another person got called and they would call their kid. It's like, yes. People just start smiling, people start coming over. I couldn't tell you, everybody was over there. It was a very, very stressful day.
The names that I mentioned earlier were some of those people there? Isaiah.
Isaiah, Max,
Okay. And, okay, in that meeting at Scott and Beth's house, your me mom and your grandparents, right? Was that before you spoke to the police officer?
yes. I don't know.
Okay. That's okay. Okay. Now, Weston, if I were to name a place, I just want you to tell me if you know what this place is, the Diamondback Music Hall. Do you know what that is? Okay. Have you ever been there before? No, you've never been there before? Okay. Maybe in December sometime?
What is it? A music hall?
It's like a bar. No? So you've never been there and you weren't there in December of this last year?
18 years old, how do I get in there?
Listen, I got to ask the questions, right? That's a fair answer, right? Have you ever heard anyone like Brianna or Ian tell you about that bar?
Talk to Brianna.
Okay.
Talk to him here, but no, he's not going to bring up the bar. Don't do this
Okay. When you say you talk to Ian in here, what do you mean?
outside.
Okay, so all of that's outside. Okay. So you had said earlier about your visits to Michigan. They were over the summer. Was it every summer? Yeah. Okay. And was it also over the school breaks? Did you come mostly over the school breaks as well?
You're talking about like spring break?
Yeah, spring break, winter break.
Yeah, that's with summer when it's break.
Okay. Okay. And that was the times that you would come to town and stay with your grandparents, right? All right. Earlier, the prosecutor asked you about this conversation that happened. That was the initial conversation about videos, right? Do you remember where that conversation happened? Okay. Were you in a car?
Got out of the truck, got into the room. That's cool.
Okay. And you said you were going to the UAW?
Or, yeah,
Okay. Do you remember going to like a studio?
it was the studio. He had his own office and
Okay. So you took, were you in Zach's truck with him? Okay. So you're in Zach's truck. Do you remember what kind of truck it was?
it was a lot for
Okay. And you guys go over to the UAW, which is also where his studio space is. Okay. And the conversation started with regards to you getting a job potentially, right? Like you guys started talking about you need to get a job. No?
that he had his own.
Okay. So you weren't looking for work or anything like that at that time. Okay. Why weren't you looking for work?
In high school, 16, I was playing sports.
Okay.
They want to.
Okay. Okay.
I was coaching. At the time I was in Michigan.
So every time you came down for the summers, you weren't working here? No? Okay. And the break.
I did work. I worked for Dave Miller here, but that was like I haven't worked like an actual job.
Okay. When you say under the table work, just
It was like
contract work? Okay. All right. Now, when you had the conversation about the videos, like you say, he told you these things about the videos, right? But you didn't do anything about it for a while, right? So when you chose to do the videos, you reached out to Zach.
so much has happened since then. So long that I couldn't tell you for exactly. I do not know.
Well, I do think earlier the prosecutor asked you and you had said that you reached out to Zach after a while because you needed money.
So, but I don't want to say misinformation, so I'm really sorry.
So at first,
It's been so long.
and I understand, Weston. So at first, Zach had this conversation with you, presented this idea to you. You didn't do anything for a while, and then you reached out to him because you needed money. Would I be right to say that?
I reached out to him, he reached out to me again, brought it back to him.
Okay. Do you remember saying that earlier to the prosecutor that you reached?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained, and I don't know that that was really what he said.
Fair, Your Honor.
I think he gave his mindset. He was giving his mindset as to why he did that. Because he needed money.
So can I restate the question, Your Honor?
If you can, but I think he's answered it, but go ahead.
So based on your mindset at the time, Zach presented an idea to you, you did nothing, and then your mindset was that you needed money, so you reached out. Would that be fair?
Well, I'll sustained. His testimony is what it is. When I'm talking mindset, he was explaining why he did what he did. I don't know that in my notes will reflect one person reaching out to another or the other way around. And he has answered that question by saying he's not sure and he doesn't want to give information. So we're done with that.
That's
Move
fair,
on.
Your Honor. Thank you. So when you were having the conversation and he provides you an email address, right? You had said that he provided you an email address. What was that email address again? Okay. And is that how you chose to communicate? Sending the videos? Okay. Okay. And did you send the videos from your own email address? And Your Honor, I'm not sure if you want that on the record or if you could write down his email address for us.
All right. Well, I don't know if he knows it, so
Well-
I have to ask him that question.
Do you know the email address that you used at the time?
All right. So we don't want it broadcast. We're going to give you a piece of paper at some point. You need to write that down.
And so you communicated through your email to that email address. Okay. For the videos, right? And let's talk a little bit about these videos. So what were the parameters of the videos? You talked about it a little bit earlier, right? Certain things got you more than others. Can you just give me a couple of those certain things?
At the finishing video, that obviously I showed in the video. You have to show your stomach, show your legs, that bone, high pitch, loud, to the point where I could never do it with someone else in the house because they were here. And this is something I haven't, I don't think I told them, but yeah, that's the parameters.
Okay, and so if you did all those things, what kind of response would you get payment wise? How much would you get if you did all those things?
$60. There.
Okay, so there wasn't like, if you did these things, you got this much? Okay,
100, 150,
okay.
90, 70.
And when you're taking these videos, where were you usually taking them?
In Kentucky, out in my room, and here in my room.
Okay, and when you say in your room here, was that at Beth and Scott's house, your grandparents? Okay, and where, like always in your bedroom? Okay, and what time of the day would you usually take the videos? Okay, did you like take a video? Okay, so always when no one was home at grandma and grandpa's house, right? What about when you were in Kentucky? It was in your bedroom? Okay, and it was when no one else was home as well? And who lived with you? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I couldn't, because it would be too loud, and they'd probably be like, what is going on in that room?
Okay, and who lived with you in Kentucky?
I'm on.
Okay, so in your stepdad, okay. And you said it ranged time-wise when you were making or taking the videos, okay? Did you take a couple of videos and send them by one, or did you just take one and send it? Okay, and when you would take the videos, would you take them on the camera app on your phone? Yeah? Okay.
I forgot about that, so that'd be 60 seconds or longer.
Okay, so it has to be 60 seconds or longer. So you go to your camera app, you open up the video, you take the video, and that goes into your photo reel, right? Your camera roll, right? Okay, so then you go into your email address, you'd upload the video, and you'd send it to the Brian Elliott or at yahoo.com, right? And what would you do with the videos that were on your phone? Okay, and in order to delete them, what steps did you have to take? Okay, so you delete the video from the camera roll, right? Okay, and what about the emails? Did you delete them right away?
No, so I deleted them probably like 2 years ago, and it's just because I felt freaking ashamed. And I got on an accident, and I clicked on it, and I was filming my scent, and I saw it, and it just reminded me.
Okay, and how many emails do you think you deleted?
Yes.
Well, okay, and were they just the video uploaded, or was there any context in the email? Okay, and no one else was CC'd on the email, right? It just went to that B7. Okay. So because you're taking the videos on your phone, right? Was there more videos that weren't sent? So you said you sent 15 to 20 videos via the email to Brian Elliott.
I took a video and it wasn't good enough, and I had to retake it and then send it.
Okay.
So yeah, I probably made 20, 30 videos altogether.
So there was about 20, 30 additional videos that never got sent, or 10 videos that were not good? Okay.
Probably like 20, 30 videos in general, including the ones that I didn't get paid for. Okay. They weren't good enough.
Okay, well, I'm not asking you about those. I'm asking you about other videos that you took that maybe didn't email out. So, you know, how you take a selfie, you take a couple of pictures, some of them aren't great. And you're like, well, this one's good, right? So what I'm saying to you is, were there other videos that you took and you were like, no, I'm going to delete that one? No. So every video you took was one that you sent?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was about 15 to 20 videos. I just want to make sure, because you threw out some numbers. I don't want to. Okay. And all of them were sent to this Brian email at Yahoo, right? Okay. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of this Cash App. Okay. So when you sent the video, how much time has to pass before you would get some kind of payment?
Most of the time it was pretty instant.
Okay.
I text them, they verify that it got verified. And
Okay, when you say you would text them, is that on Snapchat or is that on the text message app? Snapchat? And when you,
text them, because it was a secret. Why would I want to tell somebody when I'm getting paid to do something I was already doing? Whatever, it's 8th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever, however below it was, whatever grade it was. It is part of it.
okay, so when you're having the Snapchat conversation, that's with Zach Snapchat, right? What's his username? Do you remember? Okay, and was there an image on his Snapchat of like, you know, how like your Snapchat can have, pardon? I guess it's called a pit emoji. I've learned something new today. Was there an image on that? Yeah, what was that of?
Like, it's just what it looked like.
Okay. Okay, so all of the conversations that happened between you and Zach regarding the videos was on the Snapchat with your account and his. No, I get that point, Weston. So all the conversations that you had with Mr. Radcliffe was via Snapchat, your Snapchat account and his Snapchat account, Zachary Radcliffe, correct? Okay. Do you remember your username at the time when you had that Snapchat account? Okay. Okay. And so when you're talking payments, so you upload the video, like we said on email, right, to Brian, then you sent Mr. Radcliffe a snap, letting him know?
Well, yeah, that I sent a video and you'd be like, yeah, I'll be back with you, blah, 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 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, and then the money would come. Okay. And you said you made about 15 to 20 videos. How many times did you get payment via Cash App?
I got paid every time it was approved.
Okay, so you got 15 and 20 times of payments from Cash App. And so if you're taking the video, you said throughout the day, right? Right, like earlier you said it could vary depending on when you were home alone. The very first Cash App you received, do you remember that one? No? But you do remember that it was how many Cash Apps in total? Okay, how many did you say earlier in total? I just want to make sure I heard you. 15? Okay. Thank you. Was there a point where you had to create some other account?
Yeah, I've had to create CX that made me delete multiple Snapchats, so yes, I've had multiple accounts. I don't recall the issue.
Okay, I was actually asking you about Cash App. So was there a point where you had to create another Cash App account?
It's because there was a limit. I don't know if it was $1,000 limit or whatever it was, but it said like you can't get paid anymore. I don't know if I wasn't 18, I didn't have like access to the actual Cash App, and I had to have like a guardian or whatever.
Mhm.
That's
Did you receive payments on that account? Okay. Do you remember because you know Cash App also has like a username, right? Do you remember your usernames for the two accounts? No? Okay. Are you able to get that information? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the Valentine's Day video, right? I think the prosecutor brought it up earlier. There was a video that you made around Valentine's Day. Do you remember that?
Are you talking about the video? Are you talking?
Yep. No, I'm talking about the video with your face in it.
Around?
When did you make that video?
I don't want to say it was Valentine's Day, but I don't want to say misinformation, so I don't know.
Okay. Did you make that video before or after the conversation in the kitchen?
Way before. This was in Kentucky.
Okay. Okay. And you said,
Conversation. Was like conversations. Video with my face in it was probably
2-3 years ago? Okay. And did you receive payment for that video? And that was the only video with your face on it, right? Okay. And how much did you get paid for that video? And how did you receive that payment? Cash App? And what was the tagline on Cash App when you received those payments?
It was for help. There was only two different ones. For help and YEE.
Okay. And that's kind of what would be said when the Cash App would come through.
I think the reason he always had something, I was like, is your mom gonna be concerned that you're taking this most money a lot. So he could have reason for help.
Did you experience that he would send other people money for help?
Anybody else who's involved. That's why I think so.
Right. What I'm asking you is, throughout your time knowing Zach, right, did you see him help people with money? Okay. And
He takes out he takes to the movies.
okay, did you see him help other people with money? Who are like, in what way? Just give us some examples. Buying them things, helping them out when they didn't have the money, right?
Kind of, just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just.
Would he buy school for clothes for school?
I believe that he bought Isaiah clothes for school.
Okay. Would he buy equipment or technology stuff for school, like computers, headphones? No, but he would buy meals, take you guys out, right?
Yeah. It's all right. I need one too. How about that? All right. We're going to take a break. All right.
I'm almost done with this witness, Your Honor.
It's fine. I said we're taking a
Thank
break.
you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Any redirect?
Yes.
Good. Are you good for me to ask you just a couple more questions? Okay. You just testified on cross-exam about the video wasn't good enough, so you had to redo it. Who told you that the video wasn't good enough? Zach Radcliffe? Okay. And you said that the payment was pretty instant. After you emailed the video, you would then send a snap message to Zach, and then Zach would pay you for the video. Okay. And when the defendant would tell you that the video wasn't good enough, would he tell you what you needed to do? Like, what would he say? Like,
So your stomach, make sure you have to finish the video, come ejaculate, on like a girl. That's it for you.
and when all of this information came out, did Zach contact you after that? Thank you, Weston. I don't have any other questions for you.
Why don't you just hand me that? You're all set.
Hi, Ian. My name's Amy Reiser. I'm the Assistant Prosecuting Attorney handling this case, and we have met last week to go over your testimony and yesterday. Can you tell the judge how old you are?
I'm currently 21,
And what's your date of birth?
March 29, 2003.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
And do you still live there?
I currently live in Belleville.
And when you were growing up, did you attend the Oakwood Baptist Church? And do you recall what age you started going there?
I started in fourth grade, so around 11 or 12
And who did you go with?
with my family.
Okay. Brothers, sisters?
My sister, my mom, my dad, and my aunt as well.
Okay. And did you know the defendant, Zachary Radcliffe?
When we first started, no, but I did hear his name, obviously, because he was popular in the church because of what he did every day and stuff like that.
Okay. And so did you eventually, as you got older, hang out with him or?
I did. He actually had a kind of more of a fond appreciation for our family. He was involved in a lot of stuff with our family when we kind of started going over the first.
Okay. And would you go to his house or he would come to your house?
Our house.
Okay.
Or we go out to dinner with other people and stuff.
Okay. Would he become part of your family?
For a while, he was considered, we basically consider him almost family.
And would you hang out with him after church?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Depends over the years, there were different things. He'd mentor me in music. We'd go to things like dinners and stuff like that. So it kind of just depended on what was going on.
Okay. And the church where you attended, where was it?
It was, at that time, it was in Saline at the Washington Street.
Okay. And what was Zach's role at the church as you got older?
First started, he wasn't the director of worship. He was the person on stage who led primarily the song. Like,
Okay. And then over time,
and over time, after we graduated college, came back home, he did take that role as the role.
director of worship. And would you hang out with him after church one-on-one, or was it always in a family setting?
So when I first started going to the church, it was our family, but as I got closer and went to the church for longer, it was more one-on-one. When it came to stuff like practicing for band, or asking questions on how to play something, or writing music as well. That's when I started getting more one-on-one.
Okay, and how old were you then?
Probably as far as like one-on-ones with helping things on a consistent basis, probably would have been around like 15 to 16 years old.
Okay. And what instrument did you play?
Time I played acoustic guitar.
And sort of as your mentor and working with him in the band, did you communicate with him, did you have a cell phone?
Yes, so I had Snapchat, and obviously a cell phone when I was around 14. Would have been when he first asked for my Snapchat.
Okay. And was that unusual, or was
So we were in the church, and it was after church one day, and he simply asked if I had Snapchat. He added me, and then we left.
okay. And would he drive you home ever, or?
No.
Okay. Did you ever go to his house and hang out?
There was one time I did, yes.
And can you tell us about that?
So when I was probably around 11, I was new to the church. There was a trip that my family primarily camped in the summer. And when they couldn't take me to the trip, Zach did offer to take me. I did stay the night at their house, in his bedroom on the spare bed.
And where was his house at that time?
His house was 100 West.
Okay. And the trip, it was a church trip, or?
Yes, it was a youth group trip to Cedar Point.
Okay. And your family was somewhere else?
About an hour.
Camping. Okay. And so you go on the youth group trip with Zach and the other youth group members?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So you go on the trip to Cedar Point, the youth group trip,
Yes, that is correct.
and then you stayed at Zach's house?
I did that.
Okay. And Zach was driving, or?
Zach drove me back to the campground the next day.
Okay.
For that, he drove me home from the church when we returned.
And did you stay at his house? Okay. And what happened at his house?
In his house, I stayed in his room instead of on like a couch or anything like that. I was in his room on the spare bed.
Okay. And anything unusual?
So when I was there, I remember being younger, and he like didn't give any type of pressure, but he did kind of ask questions as to why I would wear all my clothes to bed.
Okay. And you were about 11 years old?
12, yes, that's
Okay. And did he like try to talk you into wearing something else to bed?
He said that I'd be more comfortable in my underwear.
Okay. And so did you do that? Okay. And did you ever stay at his house again?
That was the only time. I never wanted to stay there, to be honest.
Okay. At some point, did you communicate outside of the church on text message, on the phone, or on Snapchat, or both?
So when I was younger, it would depend most of the time with Snapchat, but I did find, like looking back, he did text me a lot on Facebook Messenger as well. Nothing sinister, just that did start where he was originally texting me. And then once I had Snapchat, it shifted to Snapchat.
And was it just normal conversation about the band on Snapchat, or?
For the most part, when I first, like towards our beginnings, like years at the church, it was just normal conversation, saying things like "Happy birthday," "I love you," thank you, stuff like that.
Okay. And did it ever turn into something else?
Once we moved over to Snapchat, he started introducing new concepts of things that he would offer to me as well.
Okay, like what?
He would offer it at the beginning, or he wouldn't offer. He would try to desensitize me to things, saying that, oh, like we're bros, so we send videos of each other, like ejaculating on Snapchat.
And how did you respond to that?
I said that was wild. I said that's not true. I did try to question why he would introduce such an idea. I would ask like who else, and he would say, oh, no one. He's like, I can't tell you that, and stuff. But we'd always make excuses when it came to that.
Okay. And how old were you when this sort of line of questioning started?
I would guess probably around, well, not guess, but for me, it was probably around 14, 15 when he started introducing the idea.
Okay. And did he ever send anything to you?
He did. In fact, there were a lot of times that his method of trying to make me comfortable was to send videos of himself, and he called them Happy Come Day every time he did it.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you say or do with those videos?
With those videos, I'd be like, what the F, like, why'd you send that kind of thing? And then over time, he kind of was like, oh, it's chill. And then he tried to make it comfortable. And I kind of eventually just said yes, because he bothered me about it so much.
You finally said yes to.
Just sending it to him.
Okay. And did you just send it to his regular Snapchat account, or?
Yes.
And did he ever tell you that you would get paid for the videos or anything like that?
So when it first started, no. At first, it was just we're friends, and friends send like silly videos that are a joke to each other. And then as I got a little bit older, probably around 16, 17, I had an interest in music during the pandemic as well. And he offered me to do music. His offer was to send videos for my songs to be cheaper so that I could afford them.
Okay. And so where did you send those videos?
I sent to him on Snapchat.
Okay. Was it his regular Snapchat account or a different account?
He was very good.
Okay. And then he would he tell you what to do in the video?
He would just, for us, it was never instructions. It was just that the big point of the video was to finish.
Okay. And you were 16 or 17 years old?
When he started using it as like an exchange for something.
Okay. And then when you sent the video, what would you get in return?
In return, my songs would only be $1,000 instead of the $1,500 they were before at the other studio we went with Chuck Alcasian. And then when we switched to just working with him, when I switched to just working with him one-on-one, the agreement was I sent videos for my music to be cheaper and only $1,000.
Okay, just so that I'm clear, the $1,000 would be paid, or $1,500 would be paid for what normally?
Would Sarah repeat that for me? I can barely read this.
Okay, when you said that your music would be cheaper,
Yes.
can you explain that to me in a bit more detail?
Yeah, so the rate of a studio session at Pearl was $1,500.
Got
So Chuck could give it, but he didn't want to increase them. So Zach at his own studio at the current building that we were in at the time offered for him to do it for $1,000 a song instead of $1,500 I was paying, and that he wanted to up and do it with him one-on-one. And then I sent a video or a certain amount of videos, depending on what the agreement was at the time, in exchange for me to only have to pay $1,000 per song instead of $1,500. So that I could afford.
And again, it may seem obvious, but just so that I'm clear. So you would pay him $1,000 and also we're sending videos.
Yes.
And the videos really were a discount if.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Go ahead.
And that was the cost of recording at Zach's studio
That's
for you.
for me.
So instead of paying $1,500, you could pay $1,000, but you also had to send him videos of yourself master.
That's
And you were 16 or 17 years old. Did he try to negotiate any other sexual acts or any other videos with you?
so when he would do the videos, the thing that I kind of did, I gave into when I was younger throughout the years for exchange when he offered that. He also did always like to joke and hint about bro jobs, and that if I would let him suck me off in a dark room so I wouldn't have to see him do it, my song would not be $1,000, but it would be free.
So that's when you were younger than 16 or 17.
No, this was when I was 16 or 17.
Okay. And the bro job is a blow job?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And did you ever do that with him?
I do not. I always deny.
Okay. Did he continue to ask that?
He did. I mean, it was more than just 16, 17. He had brought up as a joke before, and I would be like, why are you talking about that? I would dismiss it. But he did start as I got older to introduce the idea more. Once I kind of was like, okay, and open about being gay, that was something he kind of talked about a lot more as I got more comfortable, as I got older.
And how many videos would you say, Ian, that you made and sent to Zach when you were under the age of 18?
Under the age of 18, it's so hard to put a number. I would say probably somewhere between 20 and 30 would be the amount of times that I caved or said yes.
And did you eventually stop making the videos?
Yes, that is correct. My attorney was a partner at the time, and I told him not to do that anymore.
You told Zach not to. How did you tell him
I
overstaying?
said, you need to stop sending stuff like this. I don't need you hinting at anything like this. If my partner sees any of these messages, you're gonna ruin my day, like kind of thing. Trying to stop him from doing it anymore, so my partner would accidentally see something of him that he would normally send.
Okay. And did you have a relationship, like a romantic relationship with Zach, or was it like he was like your brother mentor from the church?
He was like a mentor, family member.
And when all of this came out, or did you ever tell anyone after that, like that you were making these videos and getting the discount on your music?
So I didn't tell him too much in depth. I did mention to one of his sisters privately, one weekend at church between sets, that he had been up to things that I knew about. And I told her about that, and we didn't have enough time to finish our conversation that day. She came back next week and she said she had mentioned it to her other sister and that we should have an intervention with their family to handle it in general.
And did that ever happen?
I denied her offer, and I just kind of stayed silent and moved on.
And were you living locally when this kind of, this news sort of broke that this was happening with others last September, October 2024?
Yes, I was living in Belleville.
Okay. And did the defendant contact you?
He did. When he put his girlfriend at the time on break, one of our friends from high school who I had mentioned things 2 years ago connected us, and she told me that I needed to tell her everything that he did to me so that she didn't get back with him.
And did you tell her what happened to
I
you?
told her everything. And then we were pretty good about not letting him know that we talked, and then he found out we did. And that day, he called me several times throughout the day to kind of question me and say stuff like that, and just tell me that I don't know anything and that there's nothing I could possibly say, and I'm basically crazy. And then he basically did told me to shut my effing mouth, and that, or to keep my effing mouth shut, and that I don't know anything, and what I was saying was not true.
Okay. So did he told you to keep your fucking mouth shut?
Yes.
And was that over the phone, in person, or something else? And did you talk to him after that? Block him?
I've not. He actually blocked me.
Okay. I don't have any other questions for you at this time. Ian, the defense attorney may. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ian. My name is Ida. I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay? First, I'm gonna start off with some names, all right? I'm just gonna give you some names. You let me know how you know them, okay? KJ? Okay, and how long have you known KJ?
Since I've gone to the church, I don't have a personal relationship.
Okay, and how long was that you've been at the church? Okay. What about Kurt and Melissa DeMars?
Kurt and Melissa DeMars, I have always had problems with Melissa over the years.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Me and Melissa always really just kind of butt heads and stuff like that. We've had arguments. So honestly, it was always 50-50. Sometimes we were chill and sometimes we just had like arguments over stupid things.
Okay, and who was Melissa in association with you?
So at first it was just someone I went to church with, and I went to school when I was younger with her daughter. So I knew them from, I knew her daughter from school, and then we realized we went to church together when I first started going to school.
Okay, and what's her daughter's name?
What the daughter I was friends with was Lily.
Lily, and how long had you known Lily?
I had known Lily probably at the time before I went to the church for about a year. At the church, obviously, I knew her the entire time.
Okay. And what was Melissa's role at the church? Do you know?
At first, Melissa was just a family member and a parent. There was a time when Kurt did take over the youth as the youth pastor, and she was a youth leader for a period of time.
Okay, and Kurt is Melissa's husband? Okay, and how long have you known Kurt?
I have known him as long as I've gone to the church to know him.
Okay, and you said Melissa and Kurt were the youth pastors? I just want to make sure I heard you clearly.
Yeah, for a certain amount of time, not when I first attended the church.
Okay, and the time that you attended the church, who was your youth pastor?
My very first youth pastor was Aaron Hills.
Okay, and then after Aaron?
Was Kurt DeMars.
Okay, and was Kurt your youth pastor for most of the time that you were in the youth group there?
I would say it's pretty evenly split.
Okay. And so with Melissa and Kurt, you know them. At what point did Kurt leave the position?
Probably about, I believe, 2 years ago. I haven't really been quite as involved.
Okay. Do you know why Kurt left the position?
I'm not entirely sure. I've heard rumors, but nothing definitive from his mouth.
Okay. And what are the rumors that you heard?
I have heard that
Objection,
It's the
relative,
same.
hearsay.
As to all of those.
How did the rumors make you feel?
honestly, they were confusing because what Zach told me was very different than what I had heard.
Okay. And did you sense that other people knew the rumors?
No.
No?
I really didn't. Honestly, everyone, the couple of friends I did talk to about it were shocked as well. They heard the same thing, exactly.
Right. And who would you talk to?
I only talked to, at the time about it, Brianna, towards when we first started bringing things together.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Brianna. So you know Brianna. Okay. And how long have you known Brianna?
I knew her in my junior year, so probably, I'd say 4 or 5 years, maybe or so.
Okay. And what's Brianna's relationship with Zach?
They did date for a year.
Okay. And earlier, the prosecutor had asked you a question. You said when they went on a break, is that Brianna that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So you've known Brianna for a long period of time.
Yes.
Did Brianna go to the church with you?
So when we were in high school, I'm the one who invited her to youth group.
Okay. So that was youth group with Kurt, right?
Yes, that's
Okay. After Aaron. I just want to make sure.
It was like right when we took over.
Okay. And what about Isaiah? Do you know Isaiah?
I know him from church, but I don't have a personal relationship.
Okay. And how long have you known Isaiah for?
As long as they've attended the church.
Okay. When's the last time you spoke with Isaiah?
I mean, I said hello, but I didn't have any deep conversations.
And when was that?
Yesterday was the most I've seen when we were in our church.
Okay. What about Noah? Do you know Noah?
I played on stage with Noah, but I didn't never really have a deep conversation.
Okay. And how long have you known Noah?
I would say maybe, I don't know how many years he's been playing, maybe a year or two.
Okay. When you say playing, do you mean like in the band?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Were you guys both in the band?
He played here and there. He's using the youth group with Zach. But like
Okay. What about Maxwell?
Maxwell, I know Maxwell. Again, these are people I don't have close relationships, but I have gone to church with them for as long as they've been at church.
Okay. With Noah and Maxwell, how did you know them at the church? You said Noah in the band. Maxwell, how did you know him in the church?
Maxwell, I knew them from being at the church. Their family was a pretty core family at the church at the time. So it's at events that we have and stuff like that.
Okay. And Christopher? Your Honor, may I give him a last name? I know we, okay. I just can't use it. All right. So Christopher, you're not sure who I'm talking about. Okay. Yesterday when you came to the courthouse, did you hear a name like that? Okay. All right. What about Weston? Do you know Weston?
I do know Weston.
Okay. And how do you know Weston?
I know Weston because of this stuff.
Okay. So you didn't know Weston at all before? Okay. And had you seen Weston before then? No? Never had a
Well, I've
conversation?
seen him at church, sorry. So sorry. I did see him at church. He didn't live up here, so he was only here.
Okay. And how often do you think you saw him at church?
I mean, I couldn't tell you a definitive number. I mean, over the years, his family's also was a core family at the church. So he would have been at the church here and there over the years, depending on age, as long as I've gone to the church.
Okay. Do you remember seeing Weston at certain seasons or no?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. What about Jacob? Do you know Jacob? Okay. And how long have you known Jacob?
I've known Jacob as long as I've gone to the church.
Okay. And how long would you say that would be?
I would say probably about 10 years because I wasn't in the youth group with him right away. But that's once I went to youth group, so we started being friends. Me, him, and Gloria.
Okay. So it's kind of like the trio, right? You, Jacob, and Lily
At that time, yes.
at that time. Okay. What would you call Jacob your best friend?
I wouldn't say best friend, I guess, but nowadays, yes. But at the time, we were just friends. Pretty new friendship at the time.
Okay. So if out of all the names that I gave you, would Jacob be the person you spent most of your time with?
I mean, Jake has been less involved in the church in the last several years. So I've seen him here and there only when we do choose to talk. It doesn't happen as much because we're older. When we were in church and youth group, I did see Jacob pretty regularly, but there were years when he left because of his own stuff. So I didn't see him for a long period.
Did you and Jacob ever discuss having any kind of romantic relationship?
Objection.
Sustained.
So you attend the church. All of these people are part of the church, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hang out with any of these people outside the church socially?
At church events, typically, there's not very many people. I wasn't really the kind of person who hung out with people when I was younger.
Okay. Do you know a place called the Diamondback Music Hall?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where's that located?
It is on Service Drive in Belleville.
Okay. And do you remember when last time you were there?
A couple of weeks ago or so, maybe a month.
Okay. If I were to say sometime in December, does that? It's longer than what you said. I just want to know.
Maybe.
Okay. And then who would you go there with?
Depends on the day. I mean, I've gone there with Brianna, Nikki, Michael, Weston, anyone, like people from the stuff, because we had already been hurt and stuff like that. So we hung out because we sought out support system in each other after having each experience.
Okay. Did you hang out with those people in that environment before you spoke to the detective?
No.
No, but you hung out with them recently there.
Yeah.
And how did you first meet Zach? I know he was at the church and everyone was kind of, he was like the center in a way, right? How did you first engage with him? Did you go up to him and talk to him? Did he introduce himself to you?
He did introduce himself to me. It was probably a Saturday night service when I was in a class because I was in 4th grade, so I was in one of the weekend classes. He had come home from college and he had introduced himself to me.
And how did he introduce himself? What did he say? Who did he say he was?
At that time, there was no more depth. He was hi, I'm Zach, and I'm like, oh, I know who you are, I've seen you on stage and stuff like that. There was no real depth at that time.
Okay. And how did you feel when he came up to you and introduced himself to you?
I thought he was an interesting person.
So everything you had heard at that point was all good stuff? Okay. Now, at the time, you said that you had seen Zach on the stage, right? He was part of the band of the church. Okay. And what was his role in the band?
When I first started at the church, he was not the actual official worship director. He was just, obviously, his mom and dad were the pastor and pastor's wife. His mom was the music director, but he did primarily lead the songs that were sang in worship on stage, play guitar.
Okay. So at that time, he wasn't the music director. He wasn't the youth leader or a worship leader. Okay. And what you ended up being part of the band, right? The church band at some point. What was your role in the band again? Okay. And how long did you play in the church band?
Probably for the last 2 or 3 years since I graduated high school.
Okay. And during that time, Zach was also still in the band.
He was. And at that time, he was the official worship director.
Okay. Did the band travel anywhere? No? Okay. Did the band have shows outside of the church?
I had maybe 1 or 2 times he needed help with something and I played last minute in a concert for some type of worship event.
Okay. And where was that concert? Was it at the church or somewhere else?
There was one time it was in Oxford, Michigan.
Okay. And did you attend that concert yourself or did Zach go with you?
I attended that myself in Joseph.
Okay. Now, you also write and perform your own music, right? And I'm going to go a little bit into the studio stuff, okay? So you write and perform your own music. And you had said originally when you were at Pearl, I think it's called, right? It was about $1,500 for some studio time. Yeah. And Judge asked you some great questions of detail. How long has Pearl been open as a studio? Do you know? Okay. Does it seem like a pretty established place? Okay. Would I be safe saying it was up and running before the 80s?
I mean, that's to my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And do a lot of people use that studio?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of well-known people?
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that a studio that just opens up would be a lot less for time compared to Pearl?
That is correct.
Okay. So it'd be fair to say that if Pearl's charging $1,500 for a studio session, a studio that's just been opened by someone who's never really run a studio that way, $1,000 is possible that it would be less, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times did you record at Pearl?
At Pearl, I only recorded 1 song.
Okay.
A couple times to record vocals and write as well.
At Pearl?
Maybe 2 to 4 times on total that I was at music.
Okay.
For the song. I've been there here and there for things over the years just to stop by or say hello, and nothing substantial time besides my music.
Okay. And how many songs did you record at the studio that Zach was running?
It would have been 4 that I released and then 2 that were not finished.
Okay. The 4 songs that you released, do you remember how much you paid for that time?
Yes, I did. They were $1,000 a song.
So, okay, so each song was $1,000 for the studio fee.
Yeah, besides the first one, that was $1,500. wrong.
Okay, so, but I'm talking just about
Yes.
the songs that you put out of the studio that Zach was running. You said there were 4 songs there, right?
That are released. Yes.
Okay, so 4 released songs, each of them you paid $1,000 for the studio time, right?
Correct.
And then you had said there was, I think, 2 other songs that were,
That were unfinished.
okay, and did you pay for that time as well? Okay, and how much did you pay for those 2?
They were $1,000.
Okay, did your music make any money for you in return?
Some money, but nothing substantial.
Okay. Do you feel like you got the same quality of work out of Zach's studio that you got out of Pearl?
I would say so, yes, because he was the one who did it at Pearl. So yes, it would be the same.
Okay. And during this time, you're communicating with Zach, right?
That is correct.
And how are you communicating? I know there was a phone call at some point, but are you communicating primarily via text message or Snapchat?
Snapchat is typically his preferred method of texting.
Okay. And when you started, and I know earlier you said you engaged in the Snapchat conversation, he came up to you and asked if you can add him. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So what was the handle that he was using or the username that he was using at that time?
He changed it recently, I believe, but it was DeBears something, numbers at the end of the time.
Okay. And was there an image associated with that username?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Did you know for sure you were talking to him?
That is correct.
And how did you know for sure you were talking to him?
Send it to shower or in a mirror naked.
Okay. How many of those videos do you think he sent you?
I mean, I could give you a definitive number. If I had to guess, probably somewhere in the 30 to 40, maybe 50.
So he sent you 30 to 40 videos from his Snapchat to yours.
That is correct, over the years and the time that we talked to us.
Okay. And do you remember, and you don't have to say it on the record, do you remember your Snapchat username at that time? Okay. I'm assuming Judge will give you a piece of paper at some point to write that down for us, if that's correct, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you remember what phone number you were using at that time? Same thing. I don't want you to put on the record.
I do, yes.
Okay. And do you remember? And do you remember your email address that's associated at that time? Okay. Will you be willing to provide those? Judge will give you a piece of paper. Okay. So the 30 to 40 videos that you say that Zach sends you of himself to your Snapchat account, did you ever save those in your Snapchat? Okay. Was he there when you received the videos? Okay. So you were alone when you got his videos and you couldn't just save him to your reel?
No, but it tells you on Snapchat if I say it.
Okay. So those just stayed on your Snapchat, the 30 to 40?
They expire.
Okay. Did you respond to any of those videos?
On occasion, sometimes if he was more persistent, I would give in and send what he wanted.
Okay. And when you were creating the videos that you were sending, right, where were you?
I was in my bedroom at my home.
Okay. And that's your home in Belleville or
My home in Slater.
in Slater? My apologies. Okay. And in your bedroom, was it just you?
It was just me.
Okay. And what time of day was it usually?
Typically, it was at night.
At night? Did you do anything to prepare to take the videos?
Not really, I'd be in bed because I sleep in my underwear, so it would be something I would just do and he would bug me about.
Okay. But you didn't like watch anything or read anything? No? So you just take the videos from there?
Correct.
Okay. Was anyone home when you took the videos?
My parents would be home and they'd be asleep.
Now, Ian, you worked at the Apple store at one point, right? Do you still work?
I still do work there.
Okay. And while you worked at the Apple store, did you ever have an interaction with Zach at the store?
Only when he had used my discount to pick things up in the store. And occasionally he would say hello as he walked by. But
Okay.
typically I work in the back, so you have to ask me.
Are you one of the geniuses?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So when he would come in the store and he would use your discount, right? What would he usually use your discount for?
So there was one time he used my discount. He bought a new computer for him and his father for church.
Mhm.
He also bought an iPad and headphones as well.
Okay. And the iPad and headphones, let's focus on those first. Okay. What did he tell you he was buying those for?
He told me that the iPad originally, the first time we spoke, it was for him to use and use it when he taught. After it was purchased, however, he did say he was going to give it to Isaiah. That's what he said to me in passing at church, which I found weird, but I did.
Okay. And what's the reason that those purchases weren't separated?
We did them all together.
Is that- Maybe because of your discount? Is there restrictions on your discount?
Not for presentation.
Okay. And you had a conversation with Trooper Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Did you provide Trooper Ryan with anything with regards to Zach's purchases?
I did provide the invoices that are on my employee portal.
Okay. And what did those invoices include, information-wise?
Serial numbers of the devices, the church billing address, and the church credit card listed on the invoice.
Okay. So Trooper Ryan knew exactly what was there, right? Okay. And were you allowed to give him that receipt because it was under your
My
account?
employee portal, and I'm allowed to do it as I wish.
Great. Okay. And How long have you worked at that Apple store?
Going on 4 years.
4 years. And in the scope of your job, are you like the software guy or the hardware guy?
Objection to relevancy, Your Honor.
Yeah, what is the relevance?
Your Honor, the relevance here is we're dealing with a lot of cases that are involving some form of technology. And I want to know the scope of this person's experience using technology.
I'm gonna still object. I don't know how that's relevant, although I'm sure that Ian is very complex in technology. He's not doing any of the forensic downloads on the devices in this case, so I don't know how it would be
Yeah, I guess,
Your Honor, I simply ask if he's working on hardware, which is the computer physically, or the software
I know.
digitally. So I don't think that's,
I'm not so dense. I understand hardware versus software, but I don't understand the relevancy of what his answer is.
the fact is we're dealing with technology and I'm trying to understand his scope of knowledge of technology.
For what reason?
For the reason of the fact that
Give me a proper.
these are text messages, Snapchats, technology being sent from one person to another. Someone who's much more knowledgeable about software is going to know how this works, right? Compared to someone who's a hardware person, they're not going to know how the metadata or any of that additional information works. And that's what I'm trying to ask.
You're getting down to metadata on
Well,
what? Here's the-
You're, I'm not asking about metadata. I'm just, you're asking me relevance. I'm simply asking him.
Yeah, I'm asking you relevance. You bring up something
So
about
the relevance
metadata.
is
Go
these
ahead.
incidents are involving technology, sending one thing to another person, right? And that involves all of this deep, thread technology information. I'm simply just asking if Ian is someone who is a hardware person so that he doesn't know much about metadata, or if he's not. That's simply the question.
I'm going to sustain the objection. He doesn't have to answer that. I don't see the relevance.
So Ian, let's talk about the videos that you made, right? We talked about where they were, what time frame you made them. What were the parameters of the videos?
Just that I needed to ejaculate and finish it.
Okay, there was no other information.
Not that I can recall.
Was there any other information about what video got you how much of a discount or how much of a payment?
They always have to be me coming, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so as long as you ejaculated, how much were you getting in return?
So for like, say the example, I'm gonna do an example of the music, right, is what I'm assuming? So
No, I'm simply asking you, if you ejaculated in the video, if you meet that parameter, how much are you getting in return for it?
in the beginning, when there was nothing to give me, it was just because we were friends.
Okay, so when you were sending the video and ejaculating on your own, it's because you guys were friends, not because he told you had to do it. Because you weren't
Pressured
getting,
me into doing it, yes.
okay, but you weren't getting anything in return for it.
At the beginning, no,
Okay, and he wasn't there when you decided to do it.
no, he's not.
Okay, and then so what happens when you start getting something in return? So if you ejaculate in the video,
My song would be 1,000 instead of $1,500.
okay, was that guaranteed that it would be finished, the song?
Yes, that was.
Okay, but you had two songs that weren't finished, right?
We hadn't finished any of our newer songs.
Okay, and when were those two newer songs? When do you think they were?
The last time we worked on them at this point would probably be about a year ago.
Do you remember time frame?
Not entirely sure. Something we talked about at church, I would pay him when I got a paycheck, and then we would start whenever we had free time.
Now, you said you had communicated via Snapchat with Zach primarily. Did you ever communicate on text message?
We did.
Okay, and how often did you communicate on text message?
Honestly, it was very here and there. Most of the time, it was just a "where are you" text or something to the band on iMessage or text message.
Okay. And that was using the number that you're going to provide the court?
My current number, I mean, obviously it was different because I lost a phone at one point, but my current phone number and that original phone number I can give you. Yes.
Thank you, Ann. I appreciate that. You had said that you sent him how many videos?
I would say probably around 20.
Okay, and those were on Snapchat, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so how long do you think those videos were?
I mean, that could be anywhere from a minute to less.
Okay, did you take the videos on your phone, on the camera, or did you take them right on Snapchat?
Put them on Snapchat.
Okay, so how many videos do you think were over a minute?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, but you took all the 20 to 30 videos on the app directly?
That's correct.
Okay, so you had no videos on your phone itself? This last, you had indicated earlier there was a conversation you had with Zach on the phone,
That's correct.
right? How long was that conversation?
It was probably about an hour of arguing.
And what were you guys arguing about?
He was telling me that I didn't have any information and that I didn't know anything. And anytime I tried to interject, it would tell me that I didn't know any information that people keep saying that I know.
Okay. And this was because you had already talked to Brianna, right?
He assumed that we went to a concert together that he had seen.
Okay. And when did you guys go to the concert together?
Couldn't tell you that it probably would have been about a week before the call.
Okay. And did you talk to Brianna at the concert about it?
No, we were mostly drinking.
Okay. And were you doing anything else at the concert?
Drinking, having a good time, trying to ignore the stuff that we were dealing with.
Okay. But you guys didn't know that you were dealing with stuff. Did you know at that time?
That he was upset that we were talking. And she knew my story because we're friends and we talked one-on-one. He started to realize that he didn't want us to talk.
So you had already told Brianna your version of the story before the concert or at the concert?
Before the concert.
Before the concert. Was there anyone else who was at the concert that maybe I named earlier as people you might know?
I believe, no, not until later. Michael did come, but he came about 30 minutes after the concert started.
Okay, who's Michael?
That would be one of his friends back.
Okay, do you know Michael's last name, any chance?
Am I allowed to say?
Wow.
Don't think Michael's an alleged victim, Your Honor.
How old is Michael?
He's a year younger than that.
A year younger than Zach. Go ahead.
Michael Sizemore,
Okay, and how long have you known Michael Sizemore?
as long as I can say.
Okay, and so Michael was there, Brianna was there, you were there at this concert. Do you remember who you went and saw?
We talked about it.
Okay, and Michael was there. How did he get involved in that little group, you and Brianna?
So his wife, he was supposed to attend, she couldn't because of another thing with her family, so I paid her for her ticket and I went.
Okay. Did you say anything to Michael?
I did not. Michael was on the opposite end. There were four of us in the room.
Okay, you said there were four of you. Who's the other
So there
person?
was me, Brianna, people who aren't involved, so there, I believe her name is Abby and her sister Sarah.
And then Michael.
And Michael.
So five in total that you guys as a group. Okay. And so at that point, you'd already told Brianna your story, right? But you hadn't told Michael your story. Okay. Did the story come up during the time you were at the concert? Okay. And so the conversation was Zach basically saying you were talking to Brianna,
Yeah.
right? And you had already talked to Brianna. Okay. How did you feel about Brianna's response to your story?
Brianna was not very shocked at first. Well, she was shocked at first and didn't really believe me until later after the day he called me. He had a sit-down conversation with her and kind of basically said everything that I said was an opposite. And he also mentioned a name that she had never heard before.
Okay. Did you feel like Brianna, like you said, she wasn't shocked, right? That's what you indicated?
With me, she was shocked with me. She didn't want to believe it at first.
Why do you think that was different? Why do you think she was shocked with you?
With me, she was shocked to hear stuff of that nature, period, with the man that she was dating.
Okay. Was it the first time you think that she had heard that?
From me, yes.
Okay. So I want to talk about the time you stayed. You said you had stayed on the house on Bemis, right? Where was the bedroom that you stayed in?
It was in the basement.
Okay. Do you remember the layout of the room?
There was a bed against the wall and there was a spare bed in the middle room that Michael would typically use.
Okay. Was Michael there? Okay. Why would there be a bed for Michael to use?
He normally stayed with me because he was very close with her.
Okay. Do you remember the size of the beds?
Probably about mine, the one I was on was about a twin bed. I couldn't remember the one that this was.
Okay. So you've got a room with the two twin beds or a twin bed and some other size bed, right? Were anyone else home at that time?
Yes, your friend Rob and I believe were upstairs.
Okay. And do you remember anything else about the layout of the room?
Just that there were two beds in the bedroom.
Okay. Did Pastor Frank and Robin know you were staying there? Okay. Okay. And did you express anything to them?
I did not.
Okay. So did you feel that Zach's roles changed after he got back from college?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like that's when he kind of was in a different like authority role or like in a position?
Correct.
Okay. That's what some title was given at that point is what you believe.
So maybe not right when he got back, but about a year or so after, yes, once he was allowed to get his other qualification to take over the role.
Okay. So you do believe that the church wouldn't have just given him a title unless he had the qualifications?
Well, the directive was for him to go to college to specifically be able to come back into that job. Yes.
Okay. One moment, Your Honor. So let's go back to the Pitbull concert. Okay. That's who it was, right? Okay. You had said you guys were drinking. Okay. Were you doing any other substances?
I'm 21, so yes, I did take an edible and I had marijuana that we smoked with my wife's kids.
Okay. And did you observe Brianna take any of those substances? Okay. And was she drinking as well? Okay. Did you observe, let me reframe this. When did you start taking edibles?
Objection to relevancy?
Well,
I can rephrase it, Your Honor.
thank you.
There with that one. Had you used substances before you were 21?
Objection
Is
to
this,
relevancy?
well, hold it.
Let me
What's the
give you the
relevance-
relevancy, Your
What's the
Honor.
relevance of that?
It's relevant because he's claiming that these things happened when he was under the age of 18, and I want to see what kind of lifestyle that he was leading at that time, Your Honor. There's a lot of other impacts that can change someone's viewpoint of certain behaviors. So I'm asking the question as to, he's already admitted he used substances. I'm asking if he used substances prior to that. It doesn't have to be directly edibles. I can say just substances that we're not allowed to use.
And I'm going to object again, because I don't care if he's a raging alcoholic, when he's 16 and 17 years old, you cannot cause him to make child sexual abuse activity.
That's not what we're claiming here, Your Honor. He indicated that he had been using substances, that these other people,
The night of a concert,
and I simply asked if he had used the substances before.
and I'm asking why it's relevant.
Yeah, I guess, what is it? It's relevant to his lifestyle.
That is correct, Your Honor.
So the connection then would be that people of a certain lifestyle, they're doing something like this.
No, Your Honor, the connection would be that someone who is engaging in that lifestyle, right, is the fact that there's likely that we're asking if he'd be honest about it. That's the question.
Be honest about what?
About his lifestyle and the choices that he had made prior to being 21. The honesty point of it is very clear, Your Honor, because we are questioning whether or not this individual is credible. And I'm asking the question of whether or not he's going to be using substances at that time and how it impacts his lifestyle and how it impacts his ability to tell the truth.
What does the substance have to do with his credibility?
It has to do with his memory, Your Honor. Substances like THC affect someone's memory. And if he was using THC before he was 25 years old, that affects someone's ability and creation of memory, which goes to his credibility.
I'll allow it to a certain extent.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead to the extent.
So prior to being 21 years old, did you use any substances that were illegal?
I actually had a medical card to have marijuana at 19 years old. I did drink when I was 19 a few times with my friends at their houses, but I didn't drink until after I graduated high school.
Okay. Before you got your medical marijuana card at 19, had you used illegal substances? So you had never used marijuana before you received your medical marijuana card?
That's what he said.
Thank you, Your Honor. And one more question with regards to who you spoke to in regards to Zach's sister. Can you tell me the name of that person you spoke to?
Talk to Chanel.
Okay. And did you speak to anyone else?
At that time, no.
Okay. So you only approached Chanel on it?
At that when we were at church that weekend, yes.
Okay. And did you have a conversation after that? I think there was.
We had a second conversation where she had talked to her sister Brianna, so that we should handle it personally with Zach.
Okay. No more questions, Your Honor.
Correct.
Yes.
You were asked a question, Ian, on cross-examination about that you chose to make these videos and send them to Zach. In your statement was that he pressured you to do it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So when he first started introducing the ideas, he tried to make me comfortable as if we're friends, and he said things of like the nature that we talked about, of bro jobs and stuff like that. And he would send videos of himself to make me comfortable. And then he would pester me that, oh, look, it's not that big a deal, like just do it. And so eventually, just from being irritated with him doing it, I finally just did it the first couple of times.
Did he cause you to do it?
He did, yeah, we have a time.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you get that written? Okay, go ahead. Thank you, Ian. You may be excused. Inquire.
Thank you. Thank you, Reese. My name is Amy Reiser. I'm the prosecuting attorney handling this case, and we had the pleasure of meeting yesterday. Can you tell Judge Simpson how old you are?
I'm 24 years old,
And where did you grow up?
Manchester, Michigan.
And when you were growing up, did you go to church?
Yes.
Where did you go to church?
Trinity Evangelical Lutheran in Saline, Michigan.
And who did you go to church with?
My parents.
Okay. Did you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have an older sister.
Okay. And at some point, did you get introduced to Oakwood Baptist Church, to the youth group there?
Yes, I did.
And who introduced you to that?
Devin
And was he a member of the Oakwood Baptist Church?
at the time.
Okay. And do you recall what year that was or how old you were?
2014.
2014. You were like eighth grade, maybe? Seventh, eighth grade. And do you know the defendant, Zachary Radcliffe?
Yes,
And how do you know him?
I know him through Devin.
Okay. And did you meet him at the Oakwood Baptist Church? And was that through the youth group? Okay. And would you go to church and go to the youth group?
It was on different days for my church.
It was on,
It was on different days.
okay, so would you go to the church service at Oakwood or go to the youth group or
I would attend my church on Sundays, and youth group was on Wednesdays.
at Oakwood? Okay. And at some point during that time in 2014, did you start to communicate with the defendant, Zach Radcliffe, like outside of the church?
Oh, maybe a Snapchat.
Okay, and how did that come about?
Not sure how he got my Snapchat.
Did he add you on Snapchat? Okay. And what was the conversation with you and the defendant on Snapchat?
Just the mutual, how do you know Devin? That sort of thing.
Okay. And the individual that you know is Zachary Radcliffe, do you see him in the courtroom today? And could you tell Judge Simpson where he's seated and what he's wearing?
On the left side.
Okay, thank you. If the record could reflect, he's identified the defendant.
That objection record shall so reflect.
The church, the Oakwood Baptist Church that you would go to the youth group on Wednesday nights, was that in Saline, Michigan?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, the conversation with the defendant on Snapchat in 2014, did it become something more than just how do you know Devin or normal conversation?
Yes.
What happened?
Slowly got more and more explicit.
Okay.
Myself.
And so the defendant was asking you that?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you respond to him or what did you say?
At first, no, didn't think it was too appropriate.
Okay.
Yes, ultimately did answer him.
Okay. And did he keep asking you the same question or?
I don't remember the entirety of how it went down.
Excuse me. Thank you. But you eventually answered his question. Okay. And what happened next?
Playful, like, oh, me too, sort of thing. It segued into what I was wearing, really asking to see.
And did he ask you for any videos?
Yes,
And how old were you?
14 at the time.
Okay. And what did he say about the video?
They asked to see if sorry.
That's okay. You can say anything in here. We've heard everything. So did he ask you to send him a picture of you masturbating? Okay. And did he tell you like how to do it? Like what he needed to see?
See,
What did he tell you?
wanted to see if I did it. He was doing it, wanted to see if I was doing it as well.
Okay. And so did you send it
I sent videos.
over Snapchat? And it was your naked. Okay. And how many videos did you send him?
Yeah, it's to like 30 or 40.
And did it end at some point? Did you stop sending them?
Yeah,
And when was that, do you think?
2015.
Okay. And did he ever pay you for the videos?
No.
Okay. And do you remember what Snapchat account you sent them to?
Can't remember that.
Okay.
the top of my head.
That's okay. And was that the last time you heard from the defendant or had contact with them? Okay. Until the police contacted you about this case? Okay. And thank you. Reese, I don't have any other questions. The defense attorney may have questions for you.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Reese. My name is Ida. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions, okay? I'm just going to start with some names, all right? You know Devin. I think you mentioned him. How do you know Devin?
One-time friend, went to the same school,
Okay. And like, how long do you think you've known him?
grade, so probably 8.
Okay. And were you friends, really close friends with Devin throughout your schooling, throughout?
Still young.
Okay. How are you still friends with him? Did you guys move?
Yeah.
Okay. And where did you move to? Okay. So you and Devin lived together in Detroit?
Each share
A duplex. Okay. Are you both on the same side or in two separate units? Okay. So you're roommates.
Yes.
Would that be right? How long have you guys been roommates?
It's July of this year.
Okay. And I'm going to keep going through some names and we'll come back and talk a little bit about Devin. Okay. What about KJ? Do you know KJ?
Do we have a last name?
I can't give you a last name. Do you know KJ? It's okay if you don't.
I know of a KJ. I don't think he's relevant.
Okay. Is he someone from church? Okay. What about Kurt and Melissa DeMars? No? Okay. What about Brianna? Do you know a Brianna? Okay. What about an Isaiah? No. Noah? Maxwell?
To this case, then I just met Maxwell
Okay. And when did you meet Maxwell?
yesterday.
Okay. Was it the first time you met Maxwell? And where did you meet him for the first time? Where yesterday, physically?
In the sequestration
Okay.
house.
Okay. Was there anyone else in the room with you?
Rest of the donors.
Okay. So that was the first time you had met Maxwell. Okay. Did you meet Noah at that time as well? It's okay if you don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. What about someone that goes by Christopher, also known as Cole?
I met him before at the youth group, but I hadn't seen him in years.
Okay. And how long do you think you had known him before, like a chunk of time?
Like I said, it was just the youth group.
What about Weston?
Also just the youth group.
Okay. And Devin?
Devin was.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're gonna go right back to it. Let me get one more. So with Devin, you said you've known him for a long time, and I already asked you how long you guys have been in Detroit. When's the last time that you and Devin spoke to Devin about this?
I mean, when the case was brought up,
Okay. Before that, you hadn't mentioned anything to Devin?
we had before, yeah,
And when was that? When was the first time you mentioned something to Devin?
probably 17 or 18 years of age, so 7 years back.
Okay. And when you mentioned it to Devin, you didn't do anything else about it?
No.
No? Can I ask you why you didn't do anything else about it?
I don't have an answer as to why we didn't do it.
Okay. And when you spoke to Devin about it, did Devin share anything or did you share anything with Devin?
I had told him what had happened with me.
Okay. And how did his reaction affect you?
His reaction wasn't really surprising. As well.
So you knew it was happening,
I did.
that they were talking?
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell Devin that you were talking to him as well?
Yes.
I just want to go a little bit into the Snapchats, okay? Was Snapchat the only way that you communicated with Mr. Radcliffe?
I believe I also followed him on Instagram.
Okay. Do you have Instagram messages? No. Was there ever a text message? Okay. Do you remember your handle at the time or your username for Snapchat at the time? You don't have to tell us on the record. Okay. Do you remember your email address at the time?
Yes.
And do you remember your phone number at the time? Okay. Judge is going to give you a piece of paper to write those down for us, okay? I don't want you to put those on the record. You had said the first snap message that you got that you thought it was inappropriate, right? Or it wasn't appropriate, I think is what you.
The first snap message, no, because the first snap message was friendly,
Okay.
as in getting to know me. How do I know that sort of.
Okay. So at some point you realized, like you said earlier, that something felt not appropriate.
When we started addressing the touch points.
Okay. Did you tell anyone about that? That it was that you felt it was an inappropriate text message or Snapchat? Okay. You had said it was playful? What did you mean by playful?
Sort of just like how you would imagine 14-year-old boys bantering.
Okay. So you felt it was playful. It didn't seem like.
It felt weird because of the age difference.
What was the age difference?
I was 14, he was like 19, 20.
Okay.
Birthday.
You had said that you had sent about 30 to 40 snap videos. Okay. I'm going to ask you a little bit about the videos. Okay. Where were you when you took these videos?
My bad.
Okay. Was it always in your bedroom?
Yes.
And you said in your bed? Okay. Was anyone home when you took the videos?
Probably.
Okay. Who lives in your house with you at that time?
My mom, sister.
Okay. And they're home at the time. Did it happen during the day? Did it happen at noon? Kind of what time of day did it happen?
Yeah, at night when they were home, and the day when they were home.
Okay. So sometimes at night, sometimes during the day? Okay. Did you do anything before you took the videos? Did you prepare yourself to take the videos? Like watch anything, read anything?
No.
No? Okay. And do you remember talking to Detective Ryan or Trooper Ryan?
Yes.
Okay. Did you provide Trooper Ryan with the usernames and stuff like that for the Snapchat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And did you provide him any usernames that associated with Zach's Snapchat that you thought was Zach's Snapchat?
Yes.
Okay. So then the information you provided Trooper Ryan is where you would send the videos,
Yeah.
the 30 to 40 videos.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you took the videos in your bedroom, how long were they typically?
I believe at the time they were only 10 seconds.
Okay.
That was the limitation of Snapchat.
Okay. And were you taking them directly on Snapchat or are you taking them on your phone?
Snapchat.
Okay. And when you would send them to the username that you provided to Trooper Ryan, did you know if the other person saved them? Did you get any notifications?
Don't remember.
Okay.
Don't think so.
Did you have those snaps on your phone? Did you save them to your photo reel? No. Did you go in and delete anything from your phone?
No.
Okay. And when was the last time you spoke with Zach? What year do you think it was?
2015, maybe 2016.
Okay. And when you stopped speaking to Zach, was it just that you stopped speaking to him? What was the reason?
It was, yeah, just completely cut off.
Okay. You cut him off?
It just seemed mutual. Both sides stopped talking to both sides.
Okay. And so he didn't, come up to you and say, why are you not talking to me? No.
When I was out of the youth group, that's when we stopped talking.
Okay. One moment, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
All right. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. Hold on. You may call your next witness.
The people would call Devin. Hi, Devin. My name's Amy Reiser. I'm the prosecuting attorney handling the case, and we met yesterday for the first time. How old are you?
23 years old.
And can you tell me your date of birth?
May 18, 2001.
And where did you grow up?
I lived outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania until I was 7 years old. I moved to Michigan in 2008.
Okay. And where did you live in Michigan? What area?
Manchester, Michigan.
Okay. And mom, dad, any siblings?
I have two younger brothers.
Okay. And did you live in Manchester through high school?
Yes.
Okay. And did you attend church with your family?
Yes.
And where'd you go to church?
I went to Oakwood, 2010 till about 2016.
And that's Oakwood Baptist Church in Saline, Michigan. Okay. And did you know the defendant, Zachary Radcliffe?
Yes.
And how did you know him?
I met him, I think, one of the first times that we went to church in 2010. He helped in my Awana program. He helped me through. He was part of the worship team at the church. He was kind of involved everywhere.
Okay. And so 2010, you would have been like 9 years old?
Correct.
Okay. And do you know how old he was at that time? Older than you.
15, 16.
Okay. And the individual that you know is Zachary Radcliffe. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And can you tell Judge Simpson where he's sitting and what he's wearing?
Sitting to my left, wearing green jumpsuit.
Thank you. If the record could reflect, he's identified the defendant.
Without objection, record shall so reflect.
Did you at some point start communicating with him outside of the church? And how did that come about?
I got my first phone when I was in sixth grade.
Okay.
It started via text messaging. I got the Snapchat app somewhere along the line, and I believe added him after it appeared in list of contacts.
Okay. And so you would have been maybe 11 years old? Okay. And you added him on Snapchat or he added you, if you know?
I don't know.
Okay. And so did you start communicating with him on Snapchat?
Yes.
Okay. And how did the communication start? Like, what were you talking about?
It was just very amicable conversations, talking about sports I was playing, music that he was playing, conversation.
And so this is like 2000, you're 11, so like 2012?
Yes.
Okay.
Or 2013.
Okay. And did the conversation eventually turn to something else?
Yes.
And how did that happen?
In the summer of 2015, I was at a basketball camp with my high school team at Central Michigan University, and we were staying in dorms. And one day I received a Snapchat from him of him naked with just a towel over his penis.
Okay. And did he say anything when he sent that? Okay. And how did you respond to that? Were you kind of shocked?
Yes, it was unexpected and unwarranted. I don't remember what exactly I said, but I did not respond with anything of the like.
Okay. And so the defendant would have been like 19 or 20 at that time? Yes. Okay. And you were like 13 or 14? Okay. 14. And what's the next thing you remember?
After that conversation kind of went back to the way it was before. He would make some innuendos. To me, it felt like he was kind of pushing the envelope a little bit more each time.
Okay.
And I would say probably a couple of months later in fall of 2015, he sent me a video of him masturbating, and the caption was Happy Cum Day. He said that it was a game that he played with his friends where he would send a video of him and in turn, his friend would send him one back.
Okay. And did he consider you his friend?
Yes.
Okay. And so did he ask you for a video?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you say?
I declined at first. I told him that I wasn't comfortable with that. I would say probably within a week later, the conversation came back up. I was questioning my sexuality at the time, and this was sort of an outlet that I saw, a way to explore that, to talk to someone that I trusted
Okay.
about what that meant. Zach and I had conversations about the ethics of drinking, of alcohol, that it was very simple. I would tell him some of the songs that I liked. He would tell me which ones were appropriate, which ones were, again, sinful. So I had established this level of trust with him. So
Was he kind of like a mentor towards you?
yeah, I would say like an older brother figure.
Okay. And so, did you have conversations then over Snapchat or in person with him about your sexuality, or confide in him?
Not particularly. I would ask him questions about his own. I asked him if he was gay. He said no, that the proposed game was just kind of like a little secret, just something that, you know, brother figures do that have love for each other.
Did he make it seem like normal?
Yes.
Okay. So did he talk you into doing it? And what did he say or do? What did he tell you to do?
The topic just came up enough, and I think, you know, over time, you know, and in my mind, as a 14-year-old, you know, it seemed like he knew what was right and what was wrong, based on the other things that he was telling me were right and wrong. So I trusted him enough to think at the time that this was maybe not right, but okay. So eventually I did send a video of myself masturbating to him.
Okay. And how did you send it?
Via Snapchat.
Okay. And did he tell you like what, other than mask your hand, were you naked? And did he give you any other instructions on what to do or say?
The first time that I sent it, I was on a vacation with my family in Washington, DC. And I was alone in our hotel room and sent it to him while I was in the bathroom.
Okay.
After that, I had a bathroom attached to my room in my parents' house growing up. So I would send videos in there, and he told me that it needed to be in the bed, that I needed to be laying down. He also asked for pictures of my face with my body. I would also send, at the start, I would send with the sound off, muted. But he also asked to have it unmuted, so he could hear me moan.
Okay. And so did you follow all those instructions that he gave you?
Yes.
Okay. And how many videos do you think you sent from your bedroom in your home?
Specifically my bedroom.
Or anywhere in your house, I should say, bathroom, bedroom.
It happened not just in my house, but overall, probably between 30 and 50.
Okay.
Over the span of 2 years.
Okay. And it started when you were 14?
Yes.
Okay. And went until you were 16, approximately?
Yes. My sophomore year of high school, I was on the trip for DECA, which is a business club in California. While I was there, I remember very specifically telling him that I was no longer comfortable with what was going on. This was sort of the culmination of conversations that we had had over the past 2 years. I would tell him that I wasn't comfortable, that I wasn't going to talk to him anymore. And that would probably last a month or so, and he would reach back out and things would continue again. But when I was a sophomore, when I was 16, that was kind of like the last time I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And I did communicate with him past then, but I don't believe there were any videos sent after that.
Okay. And did he ever send you money or anything?
No.
Okay. And how were you feeling about it at age 16 when you stopped doing it?
I felt very guilty. I felt like I played an equal part in what was happening, and So when I, as a 16-year-old, decided that what was happening was wrong, I held myself just as accountable.
But you were still a kid.
Yes.
How has it affected you going forward? Like bringing it back up when the trooper contacted you?
This is not the only time that something like this happened personally.
Okay.
This was the first time, but it wasn't the last. And in that, there are a lot of emotions. I've worked very hard the last couple of years to try and heal from what happened. But for me, I think that was the first time my trust was broken in someone.
Yeah. Someone you trusted, someone who was an adult. Okay. Well, thank you, Devin. We thank you for coming forward. I don't have any other questions for you. The defense attorney may.
Good afternoon, Devin. My name is Ida, and I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? You know someone named KJ? Okay, and how do you know KJ? Okay, and how long did you know KJ and know of them?
During my tenure at the church, 6 years.
Okay, what about Holly? Okay, Brianna? Isaiah? Noah? Reese?
Yes,
Okay, and how long have you known Reese?
since elementary school.
Okay, and would you say you and Reese are really close?
Yes,
Would you say you guys are best friends?
yes,
And you both live together now
yes,
as roommates in duplex
yes,
out in Detroit, right?
yes.
How long have you guys lived there together?
Since August.
Since August of last year?
Correct.
Did you live together before then?
No.
Okay. Why did you guys move in together?
Objection, relevancy.
It's irrelevant.
I can skip to the next question here. I was just trying to.
Sustained. Go next question.
When did you move to Detroit?
Objection, relevancy.
Your Honor, it goes to whether or not he's local, whether he's around the same people that we're asking about, whether these conversations are had before. These are in line with the other questions I asked. It's
Why would,
when he leaves town, basically, Your Honor. Is that relevant as to when he's no longer around this community?
well, what, he left the church in 2016.
And the church
So
is,
why does it matter where he is now?
well, if he left the church in 2016, I'm just asking when he
Doesn't make
moved.
any sense.
Do you want me to ask?
When did you move to Detroit?
August of last year.
Thank you.
All right. Do you know Christopher, aka also known as Cole?
Yes,
Okay. How long have you known Cole?
that's my tenure in Oakwood Baptist,
Okay. And how long is that?
2010 to 2016.
Okay. And did you have any kind of friendship with Cole? Okay. Did you speak to him outside the church at all?
No,
Okay. When's the last time you spoke to Cole?
2016.
What about Maxwell?
Yes,
And how long have you known Maxwell?
that's my tenure at Oakwood Baptist.
Okay. So have you ever hung out with Maxwell outside of your tenure at Oakwood?
Yes,
And when's the last time you hung out with Maxwell?
2017.
Okay. And before that, had you talked to him about anything regarding this? Okay. When you hung out with him in 2017, right? What was the reason you hung out with him?
Our mothers are family friends. We are two families.
Okay. How long have your mothers been family friends?
Since my tenure at Oakwood Baptist.
Okay. So mom's talk, I'm assuming, is, mom's talk. Had you noticed that your mother and Maxwell's mother were close? Did you notice that they were close?
They were friends.
Okay. Did they talk on a regular? Okay. What about Jacob?
Yes.
Okay. How do you know Jacob?
Tenure at Oakwood Baptist.
Okay. And other than your tenure at the church, did you know Jacob outside of church?
No,
Okay. Have you ever talked to Jacob outside of church?
no,
Okay. Nathan.
no,
Okay. What about Dylan?
no.
Do you know a Scott and Beth Powers?
I know of them
Okay. How do you know them?
since since my tenure at the Baptist.
Okay, did you ever hang out with or spend time with the Powers outside of church?
No.
No? Have you ever been to the Powers home?
No.
All right, I'm gonna go to the Snapchat. When you first started getting Snapchat, you said you got it at some point, right? Did you add Zachary or Mr. Radcliffe, or did he add you?
No.
Okay, was he suggested to you as a contact from being on your phone?
I have him in my list of contacts.
Okay, so you communicated with them on the text message as well,
Correct.
right? Were there phone calls too?
I don't know. I'm sure there were.
Okay, at that time when you were communicating him via text message, do you remember the phone number you had at that time? I don't want you to put it on the record. I just want to know if you remember.
Yes.
Okay. Judge is going to probably give you a piece of paper to put that information down for us. Okay. At that time, when you were communicating on the text message, once that communication transitioned to Snapchat, do you remember your username on Snapchat?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the username that you were communicating with?
No.
No. Did you know when you saw it that it was Mr. Radcliffe? Okay. And what would trigger that for you that you would know it was him on Snapchat you were talking to?
His name was attached to the account.
Okay. So you don't remember exactly what the username was, but it was something that you knew was his name.
Correct.
Okay.
No. The username was not his name.
Okay. You don't remember what that is, or do you?
It's not his name.
Okay. Was there an image associated with that account? Okay. And I don't remember if I asked you if you remember your email address that was associated with that Snapchat account. I don't want you to put on the record. Okay. So if you can provide, Judge will give you a piece of paper if you can put your phone number, your email address, and your Snapchat username if you remember it. Okay.
I thought he said he didn't remember. Do you remember your Snapchat
I
username?
remember my Zachary's.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Judge. You had said that Zach sent you a photo, right?
Correct.
Okay. When he sent you the photo, was that on Snapchat or via text?
No.
Okay. Did you open it?
Yes.
Okay. And when you opened it, did you save it to your reel? To your Snapchat account? Did you save it? Okay. From that point, did everything go through Snapchat?
No.
No? How did you send photos or videos or get received from him? Photos and videos?
Everything that was explicit was sent via Snapchat.
Okay. So there were other conversations on the text message or phone calls
Yes.
that were not explicit?
Yes.
Okay. How often were you texting with Zach on your phone? In the text message, not in the Snapchats?
Maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year.
Okay. And so most of the communications happen via your 2 Snapchat accounts. When you would take a video, would you take it right on the Snapchat platform or would you take it on your phone?
Snapchat.
Okay. How long were your videos? How long would they be?
5 to 10 seconds.
Okay. So when you took the video, you take it on Snapchat and then upload it right away?
Doesn't get uploaded, it gets sent.
Okay. So, but so you take it on Snap, you're right. You take it on Snapchat and then it gets sent to that username.
Yes.
Correct. How many times did you take those videos on Snapchat and send them to that username?
30 to 50 times.
Okay. And how many times did you receive a photo or video?
30 to 50 times.
So it was always 1 for 1?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the time frame between when you would send a video and when you would receive a video?
It varied.
It varied? Did you just send a video when you wanted to send a video? Or was there a conversation before it?
He would reach out.
Okay. And what would the Snapchat account that reached out tell you?
He would send a video of himself masturbating.
Okay. So every time you received a video from the Snapchat account, you responded with a video.
It was a game called Happy Come Day. Every time he sent a video, I was expected to send one in return.
Okay. So at no point did you initiate a video being sent on your own?
I'm sure over the course of 2 years, I probably did.
Okay. So there were some points where you just send a video and expected something in return?
Yes, as a 14-year-old.
Okay. Now, when you would take these videos, you said they were kind of different places, right? At one point you said there was a video, the first video you took was in DC,
Yes.
in a bathroom.
Yes.
Okay. Where else would you take videos?
Majority of them happened in my bedroom or my bathroom at my parents' house in Manchester.
Okay. Who else was anyone present at the house when you took the videos?
Over the course of 2 years, yes.
Okay. Who would usually be home?
My family.
And who would that entail? Just you
My
can.
mother, father, and 2 younger brothers.
Okay. And when you were taking the videos, would you take them during the day, noon, dinner? Okay. What about the videos that you initiated?
Whenever you wanted.
So the videos that you just sent, you That I'm asking the videos that you sent without receiving something from the Snapchat account. When did you take those videos during the day?
I'm gonna object. It's been asked and answered. He said whenever he wanted it.
Your Honor, his answer was whenever.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead, but you'll need to repeat your question.
The videos that you sent without being asked or receiving a video, what time during the day were those videos taken?
There was not a specific time.
Okay, so they could have been throughout any time in the day.
Yes.
Okay. And you had said sometimes in the bathroom in your bedroom, correct?
Correct.
And your bathroom was connected to your bedroom?
Correct.
Did anyone else have access to that bathroom?
No.
Was anyone else with you when you took the videos?
No.
Okay. Did you ever mention the videos to anybody?
Yes.
Who did you mention the videos to?
My friend Reese.
Okay, and when did you mention the videos to Reese?
During our junior or senior year of high school,
Okay, and how did you feel about Reese's reaction?
I was not surprised. I felt affirmed. I had placed a lot of guilt and responsibility on myself for what had occurred. So to hear that someone else had gone through something similar was very affirming to me.
Did you tell Reese the details of your experience?
Yes.
Okay, did you provide Reese with any information, like usernames or any of that stuff?
Whose usernames?
How you guys, just like you're telling us, the communication in Snapchat, did you provide any of that information to Reese?
I believe at one point when things were happening between Zachary and I also gave Reese his Snapchat.
So you shared Mr. Radcliffe's Snapchat with Reese?
Yes, because Reese knew of Zach because he attended Awana and New Group with me on Wednesday nights at Oakland Baptist.
Okay. When you decided to stop sending the videos, you continued to have conversations with Mr. Radcliffe, correct?
Yes.
And you said for about 2 years?
The last time I talked to him was in 2019.
Okay. From the time you stopped sending the videos, I think you had said, do you remember the time you stopped sending the videos? What year it was?
16.
Okay. From 16 to 19, you continued to have conversations with Mr. Radcliffe, correct?
Yes.
Were those conversations via text?
No.
What were those conversations? What platform did you use to communicate?
Instagram and Snapchat.
Okay. And did you have phone calls with Mr. Radcliffe after that?
I don't remember.
So there was no text message, but for the period of time 16 and 19, there was still Instagram and Snapchat communications. That's it?
I believe so.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is there any respect to this witness?
No.
None? All right. Evan, as soon as you're done, okay. Sir, you are excused. Okay, and you have how many more witnesses?
Victim that was listed on the witnesses had safety concerns and is not willing to testify.
Got it.
State your first and last name for the record.
First name is Douglas, D-O-U-G-L-A-S. Last name is Ryan, R-Y-A-N.
You may inquire.
Trooper Ryan, where are you employed?
I'm a police officer with the Michigan State Police.
And how long have you been employed there?
5 years.
And did you have any police experience prior to the Michigan State Police?
As a
And what did you do as a civilian?
I was a cadet at the East Lansing Police Department for 3 years.
And how were you involved in the case with the defendant, Zachary Radcliffe?
I'm the investigating officer.
And do you see the defendant, Zachary Radcliffe, in the courtroom?
I do.
And can you tell the court where he's seated and what he's wearing?
White sleeves.
Thank you. And what is the defendant's age?
He was born in May of 95, so he's about 30, turning 30 this year, so 29 right now.
May of 1995?
Yes.
And how is it that you came to be involved in this investigation?
So on the afternoon of October 2nd, 2024, I was on patrol and I was dispatched to the Washington County Sheriff's Office substation to the old MSP at Slane Post to meet with Brianna regarding an obscenity complaint.
Okay. And when you met with Brianna, was she alone or was she with anyone else?
She was alone.
Okay. And did you interview her in that substation or in your vehicle or something else?
I parked my patrol car in the parking lot and we talked to my patrol car.
And relative to this investigation, who is Brianna?
Brianna is the ex-girlfriend of Zach Radcliffe.
Okay. And what was the nature of the complaint that she made to you?
Brianna wanted to report that she found out that Zach had been involved. Zach had been soliciting nude photos from underage or from boys, as she said, and of those boys included Ian and Weston.
And did she provide you contact information for Ian and Weston, or what other information did she provide?
So she provided the last names of Ian and Weston, as well as their approximate ages. And she also provided the potential name of a third victim, but she did not know if that person was a victim.
Okay. And so, did she tell you that's why her relationship with Zach ended?
Yes, that's why. Because she found out about those potential solicitations of boys.
And so what did you do with that information?
So at that point, I did the investigation into these allegations. And that led me to interviewing multiple people about this.
Okay. And on October 3rd, 2024, who did you interview?
I talked to Nicolette Bruley and Michael Sizemore.
Okay. And did you seek them out, or did they contact you?
So Nicolette contacted me about this investigation.
Okay. And what information, if any, did she have?
So Nicolette and Michael had a conversation with Zach. Zach had called them regarding the allegations involving Weston.
Okay. And did they share with you the content of that conversation that they had with the defendant?
Yes, they did. They didn't have a recording of it, but I provided a written statement.
Okay. And what did you do with that information?
That letter is currently in the master file for this case, and it also provided me some more leads for this investigation.
And that was October 3rd of 2024. What was the next step that you took, or the next individual that you interviewed?
So the next individual I interviewed was Holly, and she had contacted me as well. So she reached out to me, and she told me that she would contact as well.
Okay. And that was on October 11th of 2024? And so you took a statement from her? Okay. And what happened next?
So after I interviewed Holly, the next day I conducted other interviews, and those were involving Scott and Beth, and Weston.
Okay. That was on October 12th?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you interview them at?
That was at 448.
Okay. And where did you interview Weston at?
That was my patrol car through Parkland Street.
Okay. And then Scott and Beth are his grandma and grandpa?
Yes.
Okay. And so you interviewed them about the things that they knew? Okay. And then what happens at this point?
So at that point, I continued to conduct more interviews with other potential victims. And ones led me to more victims. So it was just, there were a lot of leads I had to track down.
Okay. And did you ultimately locate the defendant?
We did, yes.
And when and where was that?
So that came about on a little bit later in October, in the middle of October. One of the victim's mothers had contacted me about a message that she had received from the defendant regarding looking to meet up. The defendant was looking to meet her, and the mother of the victim reached out to me seeing if law enforcement wanted to be present for that meeting, and we did.
Okay. And that meeting between the defendant and the mother was recorded?
It was, yes.
Okay. And made part of this investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And was he arrested at that time?
He was, yes.
Okay. And do you recall the date of that?
It was in the late of October. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head.
Would it refresh your recollection to review your report?
Yes, please.
Please do.
Zach was on October 18th, 2024.
And during the course of your investigation, when you were initially dispatched on October 2nd, 2024 to October 18th. Do you know where the defendant was?
We did not know.
Okay. Did you have any information that he had gone to Virginia?
We had information that he was not staying at his parents' house anymore. So outside of that, we did not know.
Okay. And the venue for the Oakwood Baptist Church, where is that at?
So that is at 9074 Whitaker Road, Augusta Township, Washington County. And that is the location the church held their services in October of 2024.
And were there other venues involved?
Yes, so the address for the defendant was 100 West. Also, the church had offices at 1162 Dexter Street, in the city of Milan, Washington County.
Okay. And the defendant's address was the home where he lived with his parents?
Yes.
Okay. To comply from these victims, did you submit to the case for review at the prosecutor's office?
I did, yes.
Okay. And charges were authorized?
Yes.
And what happened after charges were authorized and the defendant was arraigned?
So after the charges were authorized, there were some more victims that came forward and more people I interviewed. I conducted those interviews.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Cross-examination.
Evening, Trooper. How are you? All right. Besides the cam video stuff that that you took, did you take any personal notes on a notepad?
Yes, sir.
Do you have them?
Not, sir.
Did you submit them to the prosecutor for discovery?
No, sir.
Would you be able to provide those to the office, to the prosecutor for discovery?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you first started your investigation, you initially went over to the parents where they were having a meeting. Did you meet with a whole group of people, or was it just the 4 people that you just testified about?
So initially I met with them as a group, and then to conduct the interviews, I took them out separately.
So when you talk about a group, how big was the group?
It was at least the 4. I'm not sure the exact number.
Would that have been on your cam video as well?
Yes, sir. My body camera was activated.
All right, so you would have had that would have been discovered as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so as you interviewed each alleged victim, you separated them individually, correct?
For the victims, yes, sir.
So you never at no time commingled them and had them together at the same time and talk to them?
They were together for my initial meeting when I walked into their house that day, sir.
All right, so are you aware whether they were talking to each other and getting ideas of their testimony before you began your investigation?
That I don't know.
Okay, did you talk to anybody or ask anybody about that?
I don't recall.
Okay. Let's start in where you began, and I really think that this really began with Weston, because Weston was the first person to provide you with a Yahoo email, correct?
Yes.
And that's really where your investigation began at that point, correct? To start looking in for CSAM at that point, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the Yahoo email that he provided to you was the belly at night which was supposedly where he was sending his videos or pictures. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
All right, and so based on that information that you received from Weston, that he was sending videos, you decided that you were going to conduct a search warrant or subpoena, however you did it with Yahoo. I believe it was a search warrant, correct?
It was not a subpoena, it was a search warrant.
Okay, so you did do a search warrant to Yahoo.
Yes, we did a search warrant for Yahoo.
Okay, and Weston was the one that told you that's where I was sending and I'm not going to put it on the record what his email was, but from his email to that Yahoo address that was given to you by Weston, correct?
Yes.
All right. So at that point, you swore out a search warrant based on his proffer to you or his testimony or his interview, however you want to call it, and you decided to, now you did the search warrant yourself or do you have somebody else draft it?
I drafted the search warrant myself.
Okay, so once you draft the search warrant, you sent it out approximately when? When did you send that search warrant out?
I do not know.
All right, but you sent it out and it came back what?
The date, sir?
No, what came back?
The information that came back, I don't recall it specifically. However, we did get information that the email address that Weston was sending the inappropriate videos to had a recovery email address.
I'm not asking about a recovery address, sir. I'm asking you the search warrant that
I'm
you
gonna
submitted.
object, Your Honor. The witness was answering his question.
He was. Well, we're gonna sustain the objection, allow the witness to answer. Go ahead, sir.
All right.
So part of the information that came back from Yahoo regarding the search warrant that I wrote for the email address that Weston was sending the videos to was there was the email address with the defendant's name, first name, middle initial, and last name, as well as a phone number for this person that the account belonged to, which is also the same phone number that Brianna had provided for me for Zach.
Okay, so you're talking about a recovery address, right? You're not talking about his address. It's a recovery address in case something happens to the first one.
Correct.
All right. So, but let's go back to my question. You said that you were subpoena or doing a search warrant to recover CSAM that Weston had sent to that email address, correct?
Yes.
And you were provided with zero information back from Yahoo. It said there was no CSAM that was sent from Weston's address to the address that was given.
That's incorrect.
Okay, so there was CSAM. That was.
That's incorrect. Yahoo did not find any CSAM. That's not to say that Weston did not send any. Yahoo did not find any CSAM.
Well, that's what I just asked. They didn't find any CSAM.
Correct. They did not find any CSAM.
Okay. So in other words, Weston said that he sent CSAM of himself to that address. And there was no CSAM in that at all.
They did not find any.
Okay. So is there a difference then if there's a recovery address that belongs to Zach if there's no CSAM in there?
It's possible that the records could have disappeared on Yahoo's account.
But that's a speculation on your part, right?
It is speculation.
Okay. So, but that's not evidentiary. You don't have any evidence of it.
From Yahoo, sir.
You don't have any evidence that it was ever sent.
There's the testimony, other than the testimony, on the evidence for that, sir.
Okay. So there's no evidence that it was sent and there's no evidence that it was received, correct?
I'm gonna object to that line of questioning. It calls for a legal conclusion, and there is evidence that it was sent. Weston testified that he sent it.
I'm asking that if there was evidence sent and evidence received. That's my secondary question to my follow-up question. Perfectly legitimate.
Your question, though, in the way it's phrased, just because you keep repeating it doesn't mean it's going. I'll allow you to continue, but I think you need to get to the point of what your question is. Maybe it's the way.
He's already answered the point of the question. I'm just making sure that the truth.
I don't need to go through a soliloquy with you. I've made my ruling. Go to your next question.
Is it sustained or is it overruled, Judge?
I indicated that you can continue with the questioning, so I'll overrule the objection at this time. I'll allow him to answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. So what you just testified to was it was sent and received allegedly, but there was no evidence of CSAM, correct?
We did not find any CSAM from the Yahoo search warrant.
Okay. You also went into Snapchat as well.
We did.
And you also sent a search warrant to Snapchat. Same thing, right? From Weston's testimony or interview, whatever you want to call it, that you gleaned from your investigation and you sent a search warrant.
We sent a search warrant to Snapchat.
And say, okay, two? Okay. So were they both allegedly belonging to Brian Elliott, as you've heard the testimony today and yesterday?
Yes, of the usernames in the Snapchat search warrants, Brian Elliott was one of the.
All right, and you also knew it was the correct one because you had a picture of Brian Elliott or Elliott, whatever the numbers that followed it, right?
It was a screenshot, yes.
Yeah, you actually had the actual screenshot of what that Snapchat looked like.
Yes.
So you wouldn't be able to mess it up and do a search for a wrong address. Right?
We had multiple spellings for Brian Elliott.
And you tried them all though, correct? And you sent them out and again, sent, and Snapchat informed you that there was nothing to recover, correct?
We have not finished analyzing the Snapchat search warrants yet, so I can answer that question.
This is a preliminary examination today. Do you have anything to show from that investigation, from that search warrant?
Not at this time, sir.
Now, as a result, also, I believe that you also sent a search warrant to Google, correct?
Yeah.
And that was, again, based on Weston's information that he provided to you, correct?
I don't know if it's just Weston, but it is possible that there's other.
Okay. Well, you ended up sending a search warrant based on him and other people combined.
We did.
All right. And again, Google came back and said that there was no CSAM or any evidence from that search warrant that they could provide to you, correct?
Yeah, Google did not have any sort of CSAM on it, sir.
All right. And in fact, you wrote in your report that you weren't even going to attempt to do a second search warrant because you didn't have probable cause. Isn't that correct?
Probable cause at the time of that statement, yes, sir.
Do you have probable cause today to do it?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay. So nothing's changed.
In that line, yes, sir.
Okay. Let's talk about your search warrant to Key Bank that Noah testified to, that he got 4 or 5 payments from a particular Key Bank and gave you the address and provided that address to you, that he went and he testified to. You sent a search warrant to Key Bank for withdrawals that allegedly occurred by Zach to pay him cash from Key Bank. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you sent the search warrant. Did you draft that search warrant?
Yeah.
And at this point, have you drafted all the search warrants that we're talking about?
Yeah, drafted all the search warrants in this investigation.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so the Key Bank search warrant that you drafted that was sent, you got a response back from that one as well, right?
Yeah.
And for the amounts, the times, places, or place that he gave you, provided that there was nothing that was ever taken out from Zach's account at that point, correct?
That is, if I may look back at my report, I'm not sure if Zach.
Go ahead, take a look. If that's okay with the court. Is that all right for him to take a look, Your Honor? Refresh his memory?
Yes, sir. Key Bank did not have any records for that.
In other words, they had no account, correct?
Correct.
And you reflected that in your report as well, correct?
Yes.
Right. Let's talk about some of the search warrants that you did of Zach's personal stuff. You got a search warrant for his truck, correct?
We got a search warrant for the vehicle he was driving.
Well, vehicle. What was the vehicle? Was it a truck or something different?
It was either a Ford F-150 King Ranch or a Ford Escape.
All right, but you got.
The search warrant was not for any specific vehicle. It was for the vehicle that Zach was driving.
Okay, and you got a search warrant for that, correct?
We did.
Okay. And then you got also a search warrant for his house where he was living, the address that you put on the record.
Yes.
And then you also got a search warrant for the office that you put on the record as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as a result of those search warrants, and obviously at that point, any electronics or anything else that would have been part of that were all seized, correct?
Yes.
And your investigation, you again did the search warrant yourself, you drafted it, correct?
Yes, sir. We got all the search warrants pertaining to this investigation.
Let's talk about the car. Did you find anything in the car?
We found multiple electronic devices in the vehicles.
Okay, how many would you say you found?
Somewhere upwards of 10.
10 electronic devices.
Yes.
Okay, and did you have an opportunity to open any of those?
No, sir.
Okay, so you don't know what's on any of those devices?
Not at this time, sir.
Have they been copied?
I did not know, sir.
Did you ask anybody if it's been copied?
No, sir.
Never asked the prosecutor?
No, sir.
Is there a forensics person that's involved with this case?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a conversation with her?
I have.
Tia?
She is one of them, yes, sir.
Okay, did you have a conversation with her in regard to that?
Regarding,
Whether or not the devices that you found in the truck were copied?
I do not know, sir.
Okay. Has anything been found on any of the devices that you found in the truck?
I do not know, sir. The devices are still being analyzed by the forensic unit.
Okay, but today is February 25th. Do we have any evidence of CSAM whatsoever from those devices?
No, sir.
Let's talk about the house. How many
devices locked?
Yes, sir. Some of the devices were locked.
And so that the record is clear,
Part of the reason that some of that may not be available is because the passwords have not been provided to open those devices.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to object to that,
Well,
and I'm going to say why.
Object to the question overruled. Go ahead.
Well, I need a prompt for the record. I want to
No.
make a record, Your Honor. I would like to
No.
make a record.
Ask your next.
I'd like to make a record.
No,
based
you're not gonna have a misled record. This is not a jury trial, counsel, so I can ask the question. Go ahead, so that the record is clear as to why it's not there.
The 10 devices or so that you're talking about, some are locked and some are unlocked, correct?
Yes,
How many were unlocked?
I do not know.
You're the lead investigator on this case, correct?
Yeah,
And you don't know how many devices are unlocked?
that's correct.
Half?
I do not know.
Okay. So the devices that are unlocked, however many that may be, it could be 9, possibly.
It's possible.
Okay, so if 9 devices are unlocked right now and one's locked, did you find any CSAM on the unlocked devices?
The devices are still being analyzed by our computer forensic lab.
At this point, the unlocked ones that you have access to, is there any CSAM on those?
No, sir.
Let's talk about the house. How many devices did you find in the house?
In the house, roughly 5 or so.
Okay, those locked too?
Those were, I do not know. I was not present for that search warrant for the house.
Okay, do you know what devices they are?
If I look back at my report, I can tell you.
Go ahead. The court doesn't have a problem with it.
The devices that we found in the house included one Sony Handycam camcorder with a cord that was found in the basement in the back corner of the bedroom. We found 7 mini tapes. Those were also found in the basement, the back corner of the bedroom. And that was it.
Okay, so let's talk about those items. Is it true that the 7 videos were chili cook-off videos? Did you watch them?
They were, yeah, Washington, sir, and they were similar to that chili cook-off, sir.
Okay, did you watch them all from beginning to end?
Yes, sir.
All right, any CSAM on there?
No, sir.
All right. How about the camcorder that you found? Was there a video in that?
I don't know if there's a video in that, sir, but there was no CC on that.
Okay, and it has a hard drive on it, I'm suspecting?
I'm not sure, sir. It's a camcorder, so it's right.
Okay, but you didn't find any CSAM on that either, and you had access to these.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the office. What did you find there?
Other devices, sir?
Were you part of that search warrant?
No, sir.
Other officers help you with that?
Yeah.
Okay. What, do you know what was taken from the office?
Yes, sir. May I look back on the report?
Absolutely.
Among the devices seized from the office, or the devices that were seized from the office include one black SanDisk flash drive, one black 64 gigabyte SanDisk SD card, one silver G Technology 1 terabyte hard drive, one black Samsung T5 portable solid state drive, one blue Samsung T7 portable solid state drive, and one gigabyte Baron Flash SD card.
All right. Did you have the opportunity to go through those or somebody that was helping you with your investigation?
The computer forensic unit is going through those.
Have they gone through them?
They are working on it right now, sir.
Okay. But you seized them back in October, I'm suspecting, correct?
Yes.
And they have access to those at this point. There's no lock on those. Is that correct?
As far as I know, there's not.
Okay. And there's no CSAM at this point that has been found on there, correct?
We have not found any CSAM at this point.
So at this point, through all your search warrants, all the emails, all your investigation, you have not found any CSAM at all at this point, correct? Please look at me, sir.
Correct.
Mr. Radcliffe's family even cooperated with you and offered you passwords to try to open up some of the devices that were locked, correct?
They provide us with passwords, yes.
Okay. So they were cooperative in this investigation with you to try to get you what you needed. Isn't that correct?
They expressed their intent to cooperate, yes, sir.
Okay. At some point, the FBI was also called into this case, weren't they?
That's incorrect.
Well, they were initially contacted, I should say, if I misspoke.
Yes.
And as a result of the FBI investigation that began with this, believe that there was a report that was generated by them. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to object to the characterization of an FBI investigation.
Overruled. I'll let him. Who's gonna say?
And as far as the FBI, did they offer you help in investigating this?
They did not.
Did you call the FBI? Did you talk to the agent that took the initial report?
I did talk to the agent.
Okay. Is that documented anywhere? The actual interview or whatever you want to call it between you and him or her?
I believe I made note of my report.
Okay, but would you have had your cam on during that interview or not?
No, sir.
I want to go back for a second because I passed over this. The Snapchat that we were talking about when you sent your search warrant and came back with nothing. There was also a certification letter to that effect that came back as well, correct?
That I don't know. We just have so far, so not been fully analyzed yet, so I can't say.
I need to confirm 1 second. All right, so you've had 2 Snapchats search warrants that were sent out, correct?
Yes.
The first one you got sent back with a certification letter saying that nothing was found at that point, correct?
That I don't know.
I need to confirm real quick. I want to touch on a couple things. I want to talk about the hard drive from the office. The office, that's the one that has allegedly $10,000 worth of music on it from a female that reached out to you to try to get her music back. Is that correct?
I'm not sure of the dollar amount, but there was a female who reached out to us regarding her music that was on.
Okay, and so you would admit that Zach has all this electronic stuff because of the devices for making music that you've learned through your investigation.
I'm not sure what the defendant was using those devices for.
Okay. Let's talk about the FBI preliminary review. Are you aware of the preliminary review that the FBI did?
No, sir.
You did get the report though.
I did receive a report from the FBI.
And that they found nothing as far as CSAM or any other things that they investigated up to that point. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Do you have the FBI report with you? Is that part? You're saying that you didn't read the cursory review that the FBI provided to you? Because you guys provided it to us.
I don't know what a cursory review is.
Preliminary review?
No, sir. I don't know what that phrase is.
That they investigated and they found that there was nothing on his social media or anything else that they could find that would be.
If you're asking him about a document, you possess it. Why don't you just show it to him?
Okay, I didn't know the court would allow me. You allow me to do that. I'm happy to do that, Your Honor.
You didn't even try. I don't know what you're saying. I won't allow.
All right.
You're asking him about a report. He says he doesn't know.
I have it right here, Your Honor, by the approach to the
Show it to them and make sure it's.
It's right here. So have I approached him with it, Your Honor?
You may.
Here's the report. We said the cursory review is on page 3.
I believe so, where it starts baseline there. It's like halfway down.
Does it say cursory review on here? It says baseline data, baseline database checks. Is that the cursory review you're referring to?
Yes. Basically, my question is that they did a cursory review. In other words, they looked at everything that they were given and they put it in this report. I'm just asking you if you acknowledge that their cursory review or their preliminary report, preliminary examination, whatever you want to call it, that they did a review and did not find anything that would alarm them. There was nothing in their investigation that they found to substantiate any criminal charges against Mr.
And I would disagree with that, Your Honor. This is an unclassified.
I don't know if this is the
It's not
witness
his
that
report.
yes, I don't know how he can come to that conclusion. Counsel, it's not his report.
Okay.
But
I'm just asking because they talk to each other. They're law enforcement agency.
I don't know whether they talk to each other or not.
He just testified that he spoke to him, Your Honor.
About what?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. That's why I'm asking the question. That's the whole
Pete's
person.
sakes. That's not his report. Who authored the report?
He spoke to the agent, Your Honor.
Who authored the report?
Whoever the agent is, I don't know who the agent is. Whoever, look, this was provided to us in discovery, Judge.
Sure, Your Honor, listen, I'm happy to have this admitted so you can look at it to make a decision for bind over. It talks about the 12 victims that Zachary Radcliffe sexually assaulted that was reported to the FBI and it was turned over to MSP. Counsel is misrepresenting that this was somehow an investigation that looked for child pornography, didn't find it. So I'm happy to have you review it.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that. I'm
That's
asking that,
exactly what you just said to him.
I'm saying that their initial cursory review, that they didn't find anything to
I don't know what
substantiate.
the cursory review means, because it,
A
the report-
cursory review of Zachary Radcliffe's Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Instagram, negative derogatory information related to captioned incident. Negative derogatory information on his Facebook page, on his YouTube page, on Instagram. No, we're not alleging.
That's all I'm asking. That's the question that I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
No, you asked him a question about a fact that's not in evidence. You said they didn't find child pornography and they looked for it. And that's not what this report says.
Well, it's saying that there's nothing derogatory. What else?
on certain things,
Okay.
but it's.
I'm not trying
I mean,
to,
no, you generalized it, and so now I understand the nature of the objection. It's,
Your Honor, he spoke
do you
with
want
the
me to
agent.
just look at it and draw my own conclusion? I mean, I don't know what you want.
No, I was just asking him if he was aware of the FBI's initial review of the investigation. That's all I'm asking. And he said, no, he wasn't aware.
Right, but of certain items.
Yes, of certain items, whatever was listed in the baseline
Your
report.
question wasn't phrased that way, Mr. Thomas. You're phrasing your questions in ways that are misleading. That doesn't say that the FBI found nothing. It says with regard to these three things, if what Ms. Reiser read to me, there was nothing found. That's what it says. That's all it says. I'm assuming.
That's why it's an initial cursory review, Your Honor.
I don't even know what that means. And you're saying these words, and there's nobody here to testify as to what that is.
I think that I think what I'm asking here is if he had a conversation and if he knew about the initial review that the FBI did when they conducted their whatever little bit of an investigation that they did. That's all I'm asking. He said, no, he wasn't aware. And so I showed him the report. That's it.
And were you aware of that report, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's your next question?
Okay, can I have the report back? May I approach the witness to get the
You
report back?
may.
Just going back to Snapchat real quick. You realize the certification for them not finding anything came back on November 8th, 2024?
For one of the search warrants, it's possible that it came back.
Okay. Last thing I'm going to touch upon,
Actually, to clarify with my last answer, the letter that they said they didn't find anything may have pertained to one specific account that we were looking for, but there are two, for both of the search warrants, there was information that we had to send to CCU for analysis because it contained potential CSAM, it contained potential CSAM. So the letter that came back from Snapchat was not a comprehensive answer from that search warrant because it was information that we received back from that. So I don't know if that letter is for the entire search warrant, but I do believe, if I recall correctly, it was for one account that we were looking for that they could not find.
I have a copy of the letter with looking at it, help you refresh if the prosecutor doesn't have a problem with looking at it.
No objection.
Can I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Yes, sir. So the last sentence of this letter says that they did not find any information regarding Brian Elliott. However, there were multiple other usernames that are in this middle paragraph that say that there's information for that. And there's a link that's provided, which was the link that I asked Snap to try to computer crunching and Lansing because it contained potential CSAM.
Okay. But at this point, you don't have any CSAM at this point.
Correct.
The last thing I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is Phil Albino. Are you familiar with that name?
Excuse me?
Alman.
Alman? Oh.
Alman. The last name's Alvin.
Alvin? Phil Alvin. I said albino, sorry.
Yes.
I misspelled it. Okay, so there was an investigation where somebody called you, and can you give us the details of that?
Well, I talked to Phil, my son Mason, his ex-wife, and I talked to her about potential connections that Zach had with Phil/Mason.
Okay, and that was all unfounded and untrue, correct?
There's nothing that's unfounded or untrue. There is no connection that we have between Mason or Phil and Zach at this time.
Okay, but she called to try to say that there was something. In your investigation, you found out that there was not.
I'm not sure who contacted who first, whether it's me contacting her or her contacting.
Do you recall where you would have got her name or their name?
Yes, I got it from one of the victims or the witnesses. I'm not sure which one, but
Was that documented in one of your reports?
it was, yes.
So if you looked in your report, would you be able to find how you got the lead, where you got the lead from?
Regarding Hallie,
The Phil Alvin guy.
regarding Phil, yes, sir.
Would you be able to find it quickly? I know you got a big report there, but I just really want to know how you would follow, why you followed up on that lead is really where I'm going with it. So,
You want to know why I wanted to follow up on that lead?
yeah, I do. But if you want to look at and see first, if you can find out where the lead came from and then why you followed up on it.
Well, the first time I found out about the Alvin family was when I talked to Holly.
Yeah.
She was the victim of Zach. And the reason I followed up on that is because the connections or because Phil may have possibly been, because the allegations against Zach were similar to possible allegations that Phil/Mason has sustained against him when he was in a different state.
Right. And so again, it led to nothing at that point from your investigation.
At this time, we don't have anything, correct?
Okay. So it's untrue or you just don't know?
I don't know if it's untrue or not. We just don't have any at this time, but we're still pursuing.
1 second, you're on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Last thing about that, they did send you a report from Virginia about that, right?
Yes.
And didn't the report show it was untrue?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, what did it show?
It showed that Virginia, actually, I'm not sure what that report showed. So if I could look back at my report, I'd be able to.
Sure. Do you have the Virginia report there with you?
I do not.
Okay.
The disposition of the incident in Lynchburg, Virginia, was that there were no charges filed in that case.
Right. And would you agree that the incidents that happened there had nothing to do with what was being alleged here?
The incidents are similar, but they're not.
They're not connected. I mean, do you have anything to connect them?
At this time, no, but we are still pursuing that.
So you're pursuing that lead right now as we speak? You're still investigating that?
Yes, sir.
Are you investigating or somebody else?
I am.
Nothing further, Judge.
Any redirect?
Mason Albin or Phil Albin was an associate of the defendant,
Yes.
and they attended Liberty University together.
Yes, that's in Lynchburg, Virginia. Which report was?
And in that Lynchburg report that counsel just asked you about, from 2023, Phil or Mason, the defendant's college roommate, was allegedly sexually assaulted his children. It was a sexual assault investigation.
It was.
Okay. And Lynchburg was investigating that.
Yes.
Did you have information during your investigation that the defendant, Zachary Radcliffe, was in Virginia the second week of October?
Yes.
And what information did you have?
There was some Facebook information there's a Facebook photo of him in Virginia, and there were other victims and witnesses that were telling me that he was in Virginia.
Okay. And did his parents tell you he was in Virginia?
Yes, I believe that his parents thought he was in Virginia, yes.
Okay. And so that was in the second week of October?
Yes.
Okay. And your first interview was when?
Interview of the victims.
Yes.
October 2nd.
Okay. So would it be safe to say that after your investigation started, the defendant was in Virginia?
Yes,
Do you know if he took any electronic devices with him?
we do not know.
Okay. Were you able to travel to Virginia to see if he took any electronic devices?
I was not.
You also obtained Snapchat, not Snapchat. What's the payment method that was used?
Cash App.
Cash App. So you have screenshots of Cash App payments in this case from the defendant to many of the victims?
Yes, many of them, yes.
Okay. And after testimony yesterday, you'll be able to get more Snapchat payments that the defendant made.
Yes.
Objective speculation, Judge.
What speculation?
It's not even Snapchat.
I thought I said Cash App.
You did.
It's speculation. How's it?
Because they testified that they have other ones.
No, they testified that there was heat cams and also you're wrong.
Okay.
What's
So
that?
what's the
What the
objection?
heck kind of response is that?
I'm just saying, but.
That's not a response, counsel, and that's not a response to me. Have a seat. Your objection's overruled. Go ahead, Ms. Reiser.
Thank you. You have included already some of the Snapchat, I'm getting it, Cash App, I'm sorry, I'm very tired. The Cash App payments from 2 of the victims in the discovery.
Yes.
And yesterday we heard testimony from Cole, and did he or will he provide you Snapchat or, oh my God, Cash App payments that the defendant made to him?
Yes.
And Isaiah, were you able to, or will you be able to obtain Cash App records from Isaiah that the defendant made payments to him?
I will.
Okay, thank you. I want to talk about the email address that Weston provided to you, the Yahoo address. And you executed a search warrant.
Yes.
And part of the information in that search warrant was a recovery email address and a recovery phone number for that email address.
Yes.
In what was the recovery email address?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
ZacharyJRadcliffe@gmail.com.
And the phone number that was the recovery phone number for that Yahoo account, did you link that in your investigation to the defendant?
Yes, it was the phone number that Zach's ex-girlfriend provided to me.
And if someone has a recovery email address and a recovery phone number, can they delete everything from that email account?
Yes.
And your knowledge of Snapchat, do images stay on Snapchat or are they immediately erased?
They're most likely immediately released. Sometimes they can stay if they are saved to the camera roll, but most of the time Snapchat files are deleted after viewing.
Okay, so would you expect to find any of these masturbation videos in your Snapchat returns?
I would, but no, it's not all of them. Unless they're saved to the camera roll, I would not expect to find them.
And you arrested the defendant on October 18th, 2024.
Yes.
He had returned from Virginia.
Yes.
And based on your surveillance of his conversation with Priscilla, was he aware of the investigation and the charges?
Yes.
The key bank, no account for Zachary Radcliffe.
Correct.
Did you do a search warrant for any accounts in the Oakwood Baptist Church name?
No, we did not.
Okay. Is it possible that the defendant had a credit card from the church, if you know?
Is it possible? I mean, that's a speculation question, and for an answer to speculate.
So you asked about the key bank, so I'll allow it.
Talk about the credit card, Judge.
You asked about key bank. asked a question that was attempting to lead to a certain conclusion. Certainly the prosecutor gets to respond to that. I can sort it out, what's speculation, what's not. Objections overruled. Ms. Riser, you may.
Do you have any information in this investigation that the defendant would have had the use of a credit card in the name of Oakwood Baptist Church?
We do. One of the victim's mothers told us that the devices that the defendant bought for her son, the victim, were purchased using a credit card that belonged to the church.
Okay. And so did you search at KeyBank for any accounts in the church's name?
We did not.
Okay.
Just so that I'm clear regarding keeping since we're on it. Would your search have led to anything any transaction that may have been done at a KeyBank ATM, not with a KeyBank card?
Yes, sir. We did apply for that search warrant for devices outside of the KeyBank accounts.
All right. And nothing came back.
Correct.
Sorry. Thank you. Go on.
But only in the name of Zachary Radcliffe.
Correct.
Thank you.
So if a different ATM card was used by the defendant, not his name, it wouldn't be included.
Correct.
Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about this incident, unclassified report from the FBI, dated October 7th of 2024. Do you recall who contacted the FBI?
Who contacted the FBI initially?
Yes.
It was either an attorney or one of the victims.
Would it refresh your recollection if I approach with a document?
Yeah, so it was the victim at first, and then later it was
And what was the victim's first name?
Holly.
And what was the allegation that she reported to the FBI?
So she reported to the FBI that Zach had sexually assaulted her, and it was the same allegations that Holly reported to me.
Okay. And at the bottom of that report on the last page, did the FBI note making contact with you and indicating that you would be taking over the investigation?
It did, yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Hubert, thank you very much. You may step down. Any additional witnesses for the people?
No, Your Honor.
Any witnesses for the defense?
None.
Is there a motion? But before you go to the motion, let me just, so that at least we're all clear. I have received evidence and presumably we'll hear argument on counts 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. If you want my list again, I'll be more than happy to go through it because I just want to make sure I'm encompassing all the accounts that I'm anticipating a motion for bind over on.
And I just want to clarify, those numbers did not include count 1, did not include count 5, and count 23. Is that correct? 33, sorry.
Those appear to be the numbers I'm missing.
Thank you.
Is that what you would have, Ms. Riser, or are you still checking?
I'm looking.
Why don't I do it this way? I'll let you go through that, and so at least there's some agreement as to that. As counsel has indicated, I think 1, 5, and 33.
That's correct, and I would not be moving for bind over on count 1. We did not have testimony from Holly Jordan.
Right.
And I would not be moving for bind over on count 5. We did not have testimony from Jackson, and also count 33 that applied to Jackson.
Got it. Okay. Then that's it.
So 1, 5, and
Right. Okay. So you'll be moving for bind over on all the additional or all the remaining counts?
I will.
Correct. All right. Did you wish to make an argument now or did you wish to wait?
I can right now.
Okay, go ahead.
I would move for bind over on Counts 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. I believe that the testimony of all of the victims does support a probable cause finding and a bind over that on the dates between June 27th, 2014 through September 30th of 2024 in the county of Washtenaw, that the defendant for count 2 child aggravated did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a minor child under the age of 18 to engage in child activity for the purpose of producing any child material involving more than 100 images. And this would be the culmination of all of the victims' testimony, and I can certainly go back and do the math for you, but each victim testified to the number of videos that they created. Weston testified to 15 to 20 videos. I believe that our last victim, Devin, testified 30 to 50 videos. And when you look at the testimony of each of those victims, the defendant did commit that crime of soliciting, persuading, inducing, or coercing a child under the age of 18 to produce those videos, and there were more than 100 of them. So that would be my bind over on count 2. On count 3, child activity aggravated, that he did arrange for, produce, make, copy, produce, or finance any child material involving a video. And that would be the testimony of Weston for count 3. And then count 4, Weston as well, did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allowed a child under the age of 18 years old to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material. Count 6, that he did use the computer or an internet to communicate with another to commit a crime, in this case, Snapchat, that he did use the internet to communicate with Weston for the purposes of committing child activity where the victim or intended victim was a minor. So that would be for count 6. Count 7, that he did use the internet to communicate with Devin for the purpose of committing child activity where the victim or intended victim, Devin, was a minor. Count 8, that he did use the internet to communicate with Isaiah for the purpose of committing child activity where the victim or intended victim, Isaiah, was a minor. Count 9, that he did use the internet to communicate with Noah for the purpose of committing child activity where the victim or intended victim, Noah, was a minor. Count 10, that the defendant did use the internet to commit with Maxwell for purposes of committing child activity where the victim or intended victim, Maxwell, was a minor. Count 11, that he did use a computer program, computer system, or computer network to commit or attempt to commit, conspire to commit, or solicit another to commit child activity. And count 11 would apply to all the victims in the communication for CSAM or aggravated CSAM. Count 12, that he did, being 17 years of age or older, did engage in sexual with a child under the age of 13. I'm sorry, count 12. Count 12, 13, and 14 is criminal conduct in the first degree, the defendant being 17 years of age or older, and the victim being under the age of 13. Those 3 penetrations were testified to by Cole, that when he was 12 years old, Cole testified that he was in 7th grade when it started, and he spent the night at the defendant's home. Prior to December 20th of 2014, the defendant would have been 12 years old, and he testified that there were at least more than 3 occasions, but at least 3 occasions where he engaged in penetration with the defendant in his bedroom. performing oral sex. I believe he testified the defendant performed oral sex on him at one time. The defendant's date of birth is 1995. So just roughly in 2014, he would have been 19 years old, over the age of 17. And that's a mandatory minimum 25-year sentence that the defendant needs to be advised of at the time of bind over. That's in counts 12, 13, and 14. In count 15, 16, and 17, that the defendant did engage in with a child who is at least 13 but less than 16 years of age, and the defendant coerced the victim to submit by exerting his or her authoritative position over him. And that would be the testimony of Cole again, that the defendant engaged in him more than 15 times when he was, I believe he said 13. It ended when he was 15 years old. He was in 8th grade. He testified it ended in 2015 or 16. So for counts 15, 16, and 17, the people's position is that Cole's testimony supports a bind over on that count. And there's certainly more than ample evidence that the defendant was in an authoritative position over Cole. He was a worship leader, a youth pastor at the church, and by that time would have been probably 20 years old. In count 18, child activity aggravated, count 18, 19, and 20 apply to Ian Powell, that the defendant did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, or cause a child under the age of 18 to engage in child activity for the purpose of producing child material involving a video. And that he did use the internet or a computer program to communicate with Ian Powell for the purpose of committing child material. And that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in child activity for the purpose of producing any child material. That's counts 18, 19, and 20. For counts 21 and 22, for the victim Devin, that the defendant did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, or cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material. In count 22, that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material involving a video. And for counts 23 and 24 for Isaiah, that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material. And for count 24 for Isaiah, aggravated child activity, that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, or cause a child under the age of 18 to engage in child activity for the purpose of producing any child's material involving a video. And for counts 25 and 26 for Noah, that the defendant did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material. And for count 26 would be supported by Noah's testimony, that the defendant did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material involving a video. And counts 27 and 28 for Max, that the victim Max, that the defendant did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, or cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material. And for Max, that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, or cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material involving a video. And counts 29 and 30 are supported by the testimony of Jake, that the defendant did engage in with a child who was at least 13 but less than 16 years of age, and the defendant coerced the victim to submit by exerting his or her authoritative position. And same in count 30, that the defendant did engage in the child who was at least 13 but less than 16 years of age, and the defendant coerced the victim to submit by exerting his or her authoritative position. And the testimony of Jake supports this bind over on these two counts for the two summers that he snuck out of his house and the defendant picked him up. And in one act, the defendant performed on Jake, and in the second act, Jake performed on the defendant. And counts 31 and 32 are supported by the testimony today of the victim Reese, that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child activity for the purpose of producing any child material. And then again for Reese in count 32, that he did persuade, induce, entice, coerce, cause, or knowingly allow a child under the age of 18 to engage in a child's activity for the purpose of producing any child's material, and or arrange for, produce, make, copy, reproduce, or finance any child's activity involving a video. And I believe that all of the victims' testimony and the evidence that you have heard supports a bind over for all of these counts, and we would ask that you bind the matter over to circuit court.
Your Honor, I'm going to address the counts that are associated with the child activity aggravated, the child activity charge on its own, as well as computers, internet communications, and other, computers, internet communication with another to commit a crime. I'm going to address those counts as a whole.
All right. Go.
Your Honor, the state kept mentioning as she read the complaint, words like material, video, produce, for the purpose of production. These are the words that she kept mentioning. Child material is defined as, and this is under the Michigan Comp Law 750.145C, a developed or undeveloped photograph, film, slide, electronic visual image, computer disc, or sound recording of a child engaged. Your Honor, we didn't hear any evidence of that. We didn't hear that there were any actual physical images or videos. What we did hear is that we heard that
So I don't mean to stop you, but would you need that for the purposes of bind over in the light of testimony that have heard?
Your Honor, at this point, if you're looking at case law and precedent here, even when there is multiple victims, like in People versus Hack, there's multiple victims, but there's only one video. In this case, we have no video, no picture, nothing. The precedent supports that there has to be at least some form of imagery or material as it defines for it to be probable. If we set the tone that just because someone says it happened when it comes to these forms of crimes of using the internet, the child material, then we're opening the door that everything is getting bound over to circuit court. And we can't put that.
I don't know that that's true.
Well, Your Honor, at this point, we have not seen any physical evidence. What we have heard is that the state indicated that Yahoo, who did a search on the information they provided, had no evidence of child activity or material. We have Google that also said the same thing. We have Snapchat that said the same thing. We have all these pieces of investigation that have not given us what we need to follow precedent. When at this point, Your Honor, probability, it has to be questioned based on what you heard.
Do you have a case that says that?
Your Honor, I have a case that's People versus Hack. And in that case, the fact revealed that petitioner induced, as the state says, two children to engage in activity for the purpose of producing child material. Therefore, the Court of Appeals upheld. But in that case, the court found that because there were one video with two children in it, the allegation was that the defendant that told these two children to perform. The court found that because there was one video with the two children in it, it allowed the court to say it was obvious that this is two counts because both children were in that one video. So what I'm saying to the court here is that in order for us to find probability,
Could I
And follow
send that case? Do you have a set?
I'd be happy to send it to you. In order to find probability,
I need to say.
I will also get it to you. I just want to, it's on another screen, Your Honor, so hold on one moment. It's People versus Hack. The site is 219 Mich App 299, Michigan Court of Appeals, 1996. And then it's also followed up by Hack versus Ello. That's from February of 2000. And that's from the U.S. District Court, Eastern District of Michigan, Southern Division. Your Honor, in these cases, we're not saying that probability can't be there. What we're saying is probability can be there so long as you have one piece of material. You have to have one piece of material to say that there was two children involved.
Where does that case say that? Counsel?
The case,
Wait, did you listen to my question? Do you have a case that stands for the proposition that despite testimony, that I have to have that CSAC?
so the case that I referred to in Hack, the Court of Appeals said that it was a proper charge, it wasn't double jeopardy, because it was undisputed that two children were involved. They had one video with two children and they charged 2 counts. And that was the argument that Hack made. But they had one video and it was undisputed that 2 children were involved. Here, it's undisputed that any of it is because we have no physical piece. We have nothing from this investigation. Your Honor, they should go back.
Weird argument.
I can read you the quote.
But that's a weird argument to make in response to my question. Do you have a case that indicates that the court has to have video for these charges? Let's make it real simple.
Your Honor, there are multiple cases. If you look at the statute itself and the notes of decision under Westlaw, the majority of those cases.
Give me one.
I've got such a big list. Ability. Give me one moment, Your Honor. The majority of these cases, I mean, I can send you the list. It's about 50 pages long, Your Honor, I believe. But the majority of the cases identify some form of physical material, whether it's a video, an image, something.
Do you have a case? I'll try again. Do you have a case that says without the video, that can't be probable cause? I've asked it in
Your Honor, the case history shows that probability is met when the court has seen some form of, or referred to, or on the record, there's testimony that there is some form of information. I'm not saying you have to see it. Your Honor, I can't tell you exactly. I can tell you that the majority of
the answer to my question is no.
And I'd be happy to look into it more. But what I can say is that the majority of precedent here says that there has to be some material. The state itself, in its argument, continued to read from the complaint what the statute says. And they continue to identify things like, for the purpose of producing child illicit material. We don't have anything that produced that. We don't have any pieces of material. When she identifies the word material, I read the definition to you under the statute. We don't have a developed or undeveloped photo, a film, a slide, electronic image. When she indicates video, she says the word video from the complaint. We haven't seen a video. What we do have, nothing on record that supports that these things actually exist. In this day and age, Your Honor, when you delete something, I think the court would agree, it's not gone forever. It's in the metadata. And here Snapchat is saying, we've done what you asked us to do based on the information you provide us. We found nothing that meets what you're asking for. Yahoo is saying the same thing. Google is saying the same thing. At this point, I don't think they have completed their investigation.
Not a question of fact.
Whether they're saying those things, those are certified letters, Your Honor, that indicates that they didn't find them.
No, your conclusion is a question of fact. Is it not?
Well, my conclusion and my question to you is whether or not this U.S.
No, counsel. You guys, I don't know why you guys
Not a question of
answer
fact.
my question. Maybe they're too hard. Listen, if I have testimony of someone saying this is what happened.
Okay.
And then you're saying there's a search warrant where these individuals at Google, wherever, are saying we don't have anything that shows.
Mhm.
Something in that must be believed, right? I am at a probable cause standard. So wouldn't it mean that that becomes a question of fact as to those two competing thoughts?
Your Honor, I didn't ask whether or not the court believed these witnesses. What I'm saying is a question of law. whether or not the court has received testimony today with regards to any form of material, any form of conclusion that there is a video out there, a photo out there. And that's a question of law of whether or not it meets the statutory requirement of material, of the definition of material under the statute.
Give me a case that says it, counsel. That's what I asked in the beginning. I can't do the law according to you. Give me a case that says that.
Your Honor, as I indicated,
Can I intercede here, Judge?
You already have.
May I?
Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say is that, we didn't know what was going to come about in the preliminary examination, but there is case law that does say that you have to have some type of CSAM to push beyond.
Then darn it, that's what I've been asking. Then give it to me. I'll take a recess, find it. You got 50 cases there. You can go through the highlights on it. Give it to me. Quit telling me these things without giving it.
Your Honor, so is the court indicating that over the amount of precedent that requires some form of material, that the court was not going to consider that precedent? Because that I can provide to the court. The majority of the notes of decision that come out of the statute that's being charged for these counts support that there's some form of video, image, production. I can email that to the court.
You're arguing, however, that because something does not exist, I can't find probable cause even in face of the testimony. All I'm saying is, if that's your position, give me a case that tells me that, because I think you're wrong.
Your Honor, with the court.
So I'm going to stand in recess. I'm going to let you find it. You can't, you guys, I give you the question that I need answered, and I don't get an answer.
Your Honor, there is no way that I can, in the next recess, look through 50 notes of decision to find one specific case. That's why we're here on probability, Your Honor.
Court's in recess. Given time, did we find a case?
Your Honor, as I indicated to the court before the recess, it's impossible for me to go through the amount of notes and decisions, but I'm happy to put some things on the record for the court, some case law.
Let's not do that.
Okay.
I actually did find a case, Your Honor, in my research, People versus Sturza, Sturza, a copy for the court and for counsel, where the jury convicted a defendant of child activity and using a computer to communicate with a person for the purpose of committing child activity. And it was for the teacher of the victim who was teaching her how to manage.
May I ask on that?
So I'm happy to have the court and counsel review it.
Do you know if there's any actual?
But does that case?
Pardon me?
Are there any communications between the teacher and the student?
Yeah, I mean, he told her how to mask. He told her what to do, and she did it. And he was convicted of child.
And was there video? You know, or
Their communications. I don't believe there was any video.
But there was support for communications? Was there
The
evidence provided?
communications were sexual in nature and discussed masturbation.
So were there communications physically provided? Like forms of emails,
So what I'm
conversations?
saying is there's a case, there's no video, and the defendant was convicted of child activity for having a 15-year-old student.
so?
The video is not required. The case, I don't know what case law counsel is referring to, but if you look at the opinion in Sturza that I just tendered to the court and counsel, it is a Court of Appeals unpublished from June of 2019. It really talks about the statute, the child activity, the scope of the statute.
Your Honor, if the court wants to put this on record, that's fine. We just want to proffer that at this point, we have not heard any pieces of evidence, any testimony from whether it was the trooper Ryan, whether it was all of the alleged victims that testified today. We heard multiple videos. We heard multiple text communications. We heard all these things, but we got no physical testimony or testimony associated with any physical evidence.
Making a legal argument saying that their testimony can't be the basis for a bind over because the videos aren't there or haven't been produced.
I'm making that argument with regards to the count that associate with child activity. So the material counts of using the computer, criminal conduct, or sorry, the child material count, and then the aggravated child material count. Just want to be clear.
Circle, because then I keep asking for case law that supports your position, and I don't get it.
And that's all right.
You tell me I can't go through one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm sure all the people that are here, everybody's waiting for a decision. I'm waiting for a decision to make one. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you till Friday. Was that for me, ma'am? It's okay. Kind of express how I feel. I'm going to give you till Friday to provide to the court the case law that you say supports that position. I do believe that the law is that the testimony that I received from all of those young people today is sufficient, particularly for this proceeding. You're saying it's not. I have to try to be as fair as I can to both sides. You're making that statement. I told you before when you made the statement about the witnesses talking. You're going to tell me something, bring it or be quiet. So I'm going to give you a chance to be quiet. And so I'm going to give you the Friday to do that. Close the business.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Reiser, once she does that, you will have, and I realize it's maybe skewed in a certain way, Monday to give the court a response to whatever they're indicating. Close a business. I will set this and hope, and to the folks that have been here, and ma'am, I understand, and I am not making light of your exclamation when I said what I said. This has been difficult on everyone. And trying to get through all of it, trying to make sure that all of the counts are accounted for. And we've had a couple of late days trying to get through this. But my job is also to make the right call. I think it would be unfair to, and I'll just call it those brave young folks that got up here and testified, because that was not easy. To send it up, if it's going to be bound over, do it wrong, and either it gets dismissed or it comes back and got to do this again. That would be unfair. And so I'm going to do my best to make sure that it's done the right way when it goes up. I owe that to all of you. I owe it to the defendant. I owe it to our system. So I apologize that it's inconvenient. I apologize for the additional angst, but I have to do it this way, I think. You have till Friday to get it in. I will then set this 1 week out on the 4th. At the 4th is a Tuesday. I'm on exams that day. I will set it at 2 p.m. I will look. Today got kind of messed up. I never can anticipate what prelim days look like. But my intent is at 2 o'clock to get started right on time, to hear the other parts of argument, and have the court render its decision on this case. Bind over, and it goes up. If it's some other result, that at least there is a result.
Your Honor, will we have access to the testimony from today, or just go off our notes with regards to the motion?
What do you mean?
Will we, I'm just asking, we would have
If you
access.
order a transcript and it's expedited and it can be done, then you can get it.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not in that.
No, I understand. I just don't know if your court has the ability for us to listen to audio of the proceedings instead of a transcript, because I know a transcript is a bit difficult to get. It's a question, Your Honor.
Want to order video, then there's a mechanism by which you can do that. That's going to be on you. I'm not going to be involved in that. You have brought an issue before the court. I want that laid out for me. I want case law or some authority other than I say that's it, or some reverse analysis of a case to then make my decision.
Your Honor, I understand and I respect that. I'm just new to this court. Is there a process to request that? Do I speak to your clerk to do so?
I know you don't speak to me. I don't.
Okay, sounds good, Judge.
I forgot how to type.
That's all right. I'll speak to the clerk. Thank you.
Now, having said that, it'll be March 4th, 2:00. Is there, and I almost hate to ask, is there anything else from either side? Ms. Reiser,
No, Your Honor, I just.
anything else from,
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
hearing nothing else, defendant's bond will continue as denied. We'll see you guys in. Band's adjourned.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What? What is going on today? This is a joke. Today is absolutely an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself somewhere.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Reed, we're gonna start bringing people in person. We're gonna learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it? Okay.
No taste. Trust me, out of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.